you something about your crystal beads, which are absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
If you're feeling bad, do not wear them. You know what crystal does?
Amplifies energy.
It amplifies everything. That's the big problem that people, you see them walking around, they think they're so spiritual because they're walking around with the crystal. But if you feel like shit, it's going to amplify shit. Why do you think they put crystals in radios in the beginning? It brought in the amplification of it and amplified the signal.
I should probably take that advice because I never take these off.
Oh, you don't take those off?
Never.
Yeah, just, when you, particularly crystals, everything has properties, but we empower the properties.
Right.
Right? So if you're amplifying, if it's an amplifier and you're in a bad mood or you're talking with somebody, and if you're not going to shed that fucking tote there, I'm not, that.
What, this?
It's just like,
you want to hit it? No, you know what? I actually can see what you're saying because I feel like when I have highs and lows, they're very high or very low. So if I'm feeling lower, I should probably take them off.
You definitely remove them. Yes. And then what you should do, you put on a crystal that helps calm you down more. Look at the crystals that calm you down. Walk around with one of those. And you it takes your energy, the relaxing energy, and it'll boost that up a little bit more.
Like, okay.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Crystals, they're stones. Without us, they are absolutely worthless. They do nothing. So I have a question for you. This is actually a theory question, a hypothetical, and I bet you will all get this answer wrong. Okay?
Yo, are we recording? This is gold.
We've been rolling.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we started, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's casual.
Oh, you know what I forgot to ask you? Can you drop like New York terms here, like gutter terms and street terms here?
Absolutely.
You do.
Oh, fuck. This is going to be great. I'm going to have a fucking great time. Okay.
Yeah.
Feel really comfortable.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, be as comfortable.
All right. So listen, let's see how wise you guys are.
Yeah.
We're doomed to fail. I love it.
No, listen. Okay. If a tree falls in a forest and there is no person around to hear it, does it make a sound?
No, because sound is entirely defined by our perception. Our perception.
I would. My first answer would be no, because we're not processing the waves as sound. It's just waves.
Yeah.
What says the producer?
Were you listening to me in my own head earlier this week?
No,
Because I was walking my dog earlier this week thinking about this exact same question.
I am psychic, so I mean, what the fuck did you have me here for?
Right. No,
Get with the fucking program, Alex.
Yeah, Alex, you actually sound surprised. I mean,
No, I just,
all right. So, what were you thinking about? What was the answer to your thoughtful question?
no.
Wow. Okay, you guys heard me before then. You must have taken some of my classes.
So we were right.
You're absolutely right. You know why? It's not just perception. Everything makes a vibration. It requires a brain and an ear to translate the vibration. Animals do not hear the same way. They feel the vibration. That's why they can sense things miles away. They don't hear as well. Wow. We're the ones that get the vibration and then it translates, just like vision and everything like that. You can't see. Animals don't see colors, and we do see colors. It's all the brain. And you know, most people do not know that.
Wow.
They do not know that. And you know why I even said that? You know why I came up with this? I have no fucking idea.
You were relating it to the crystals.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we were talking about crystals,
Okay, thank
how
you.
they're worthless without us.
Thank God you got some young people here on the show because you can remind me what I'm forgetting. Okay, crystals and everything on this planet have different features and they have different attributes, but it takes humans to empower every single one of them. Without us here, believe it or not, the Earth would not exist, which is why you have all the planets out there in the universes with no life on it. Because once the humans stopped incarnating on those planets, there was no purpose for the planet. And do you know what a black hole is?
Tell me.
An entire universe no longer needed.
Oh my gosh,
And
dude.
it literally just dissipates. George Carlin used to talk about, he did a great show. I don't know. Oh my God, I'm talking
Cosmos?
about comedians.
No, George Carlin's
that
a comedian.
you got-
You're thinking Carl Sagan.
George Carlin.
Sagan.
You weren't even born yet. I don't
George
even think
Carlin
you were
was a
a
legend.
thought in your mother's mind,
probably not.
actually, and that was accidental anyway. Right? It's just, I'm psychic.
Damn.
I did a reading on Mom, okay,
Damn.
there, Nick. So anyway. So
I'm calling your mom and asking.
right, he has a whole routine about how egotistical humans are because they think that we influence the planet, and we actually do, which is the reason why we're fucking it up right now. It's,
facts.
yes,
Facts.
It has the only purpose for all these planets is for us as spirits to experience ourselves. So without us here, we would not be empowering. It is what was meant by you will always have dominion over everything physical. That was stated in the Bible in creation, the story of creation. God said to his children before they left and started to incarnate on the planets after he created them. He created us first. All right, sorry about that. You got this big thing in front
No,
of
you're
my
good.
mouth, you know?
No worries.
This is as casual as possible.
Ryan
and now,
bumps into his all the time.
all the time, because I'm always
Good.
looking at these guys and I'm always bumping it. So the audience is like, whoa, what's like, as the episode started, you know, in The Matrix, when it first opens up and it's got that amazing music, that and it's like an action sequence. I feel like that's how this episode just started.
Is it epic?
Like literally no introduction. We were having a conversation
Yeah,
with our
we
friend,
did.
you know, from the perspective of the audience, having a conversation with our friend Vincent, and we're like, start recording now. Like, this is good shit. This is good. Just start recording. So I guess now, 5 or 10 minutes in, or however long we've been going, let's introduce the man of the hour, the man of the week. This is our wonderful friend, Vincent Genna. He is
Vincent Genna!
He is truthfully, and I'm just going to pretend you're not in the room. I'm just going to speak from my
Go
heart.
ahead,
here.
but
just
but I
speaking
love
from my
hearing
heart
this
here.
anyway. Really. Do I get a recording of this? Because
Yes,
I really want
yes,
to go
yes,
ahead.
we're gonna get it to you early.
I want to hear this fucking guy blow smoke up my ass. Go
No,
ahead.
no.
You go for it. You do the
Vincent
Do it.
is the first person I've ever met in my life that caused me to believe that psychic mediums are real. And we
Same here, by the way.
Yeah,
Same here.
and that says a
100%.
lot. I mean, that says a lot being poked and prodded as that UFO kid growing up. And we met, what was it, about 4 years ago?
Oh, it had to be.
It's about 4 years ago. It was
in
2018. It
Asheville.
was
Oh my
2018.
God,
We were in Asheville, North
Yes.
Carolina. And Vincent was a featured speaker at a hilarious performance, by the way. I still think about that to this day. The jokes he was making on stage
I
were
know,
so
really.
fucking funny. I'll tell you my favorite one. 4 years, it stuck in my mind.
Oh, man.
We met.
Hysterical.
We have a mutual friend named Lori. Shout out Lori. She is the producer for Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie Live. So, like, being friends of ours, we got invited as guests to hang out with the crew. And that fateful day, I thought I was going to meet and make friends with George Norrie. And what happened was better than I could have ever imagined. I sat with Vincent and his lovely wife, and we just hit it off. And then we talked all night and had this wonderful dinner. And like George Norrie wasn't even a thought in my mind, no offense, but I was just so captivated by this man. And after seeing him perform, me and my dad and my mom and my sister and my wife, we were just talking about how like incredible he was and how much we were so grateful to have spoken to him at dinner. And then we walk around the corner like 10 p.m. and you're sitting right there eating ice cream, and we're
Ice
like,
cream when they
what
come
the
walking
hell?
in. I
Yeah.
know it. And the funny thing is, we got to tell you,
Yeah.
all my wife and I were doing was talking about this incredible family that we met. Right? It's just like, oh my God, the kids are so well spoken, and they're not kids, they're so mature. And holy cow, that Ryan guy and Emily, his sister, and Jenny, the girlfriend. She was the girlfriend then.
At the time,
At the time,
she was the girlfriend. Yeah.
I know, but then they had to get married.
And you
didn't
guys were at the wedding.
Yeah.
we were at the
Man.
wedding.
And
I know.
Emily's,
That-
and Emily's.
I feel
Yeah.
more that it was more of a blessing for us to have met you guys. And it was like, I mean, it was very interesting because of your father. And it was so funny because we said, look, George Norrie wouldn't have invited them there unless they were important to you. We got to do some research. So we do research. That's how we found out what your father was into and all of that. We did the research.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
And
okay.
then, but of course, I say, okay, so why did we have to meet as kids? What was important about that? I wanted the universal guidance. And we come to just find out because it was going to be a blessing. And man, he's talking about me and introducing me. Let me introduce you to one of the wisest.
Come on now.
Okay, it's time for me to blow smoke
It's
up
about
this
you.
guy's butt. I know it's about me, but it's always about you guys too, because then you attract, and look at you attracted. You attract Nick over here, then you attract. All right, so people make mistakes. So no.
Thanks.
No, not Alex, man. No. Alex is no mistake. And look at this, and look at what they wind up producing over here. So it was our blessing, Eileen and I's blessing. Look at this damn thing. Because I'm not used to anything big on me or near me. Okay, so just
you're fancy.
I'm glad you got that foul. That went right over. He doesn't get anything about being big. So obviously, this is really the microphone.
You're too fancy. You got the lapel mics and stuff.
Oh, well, that's okay. That's okay. So go ahead. He didn't finish. You didn't finish, did you?
Man, well, I just wanted the
intro?
audience to know who we're speaking to today going forward, because I think we're going to have a really nice conversation. And if you guys recall back to the chakra episode, Wheels of Light, I tell a story about how I began believing in chakras in the first place. And we were in Asheville at the George Norrie show. My sister had a fucked up throat, and we sat with a gentleman at dinner, and he told her, and it all made perfect sense. Your throat chakra is closed. You feel like you have no voice. You remember. Point being,
totally,
this is the man. This is the man that was pivotal in changing my understanding about chakras and psychic mediumship and things of that nature. And it's like in the 4 years since I've known you, I've seen you do incredible things, like being a repeat offender on Coast to Coast AM.
Coast to Coast.
Yeah,
oh my
which
gosh,
is the biggest radio show in the world. It's just
going to be on again. Connie Willis does a segment also on there, and so I'm going to be on her show real soon. But one of the things that you have to understand, and I want your listeners to understand too, is what I wind up doing with people is waking up what's already in there.
Yeah.
I don't put anything in. And you would say he kept turning around and saying, I wish I was like you. I wish I was like you. I want to be like you. This is like, and do you realize that he was the first fucking person in my life that ever said they wanted to be like me?
Really?
Yeah, most people who met me said, no, I don't want to be like this guy. What an asshole from New York and Italian.
Stop stopping yourself.
Fucked up guy, dude. But I'm just like, no, that was all in you. And then what do? Then you got to understand. Then I meet your friends. Okay, and they did not surprise me at all. Okay,
yeah,
because I knew them because I knew you, and like attracts like. And even though you guys have your own thing going, right, your own personality styles, but that base, that core, and I knew somehow or another you were going to be doing something like this. The moment you said you were doing this podcast, I said, that's it. That's history. They're on top. You're taking the time. You got to wait until you get up there, but you're already up there. I knew that it was going to be a great success because this is all inside of you. And then you open your mouth and you start speaking. And it's just like, that's all we do. It's just like,
yeah.
Holy shit.
It's profound information, but we try to make it entertaining and fun.
It is entertaining. Well, why do you think I'm making you laugh now? Because wait till you tell
You get it. You get it.
I know, but wait till the crap I got to tell you people out there. You are all fucking up like no. But you got to make them laugh before you tell them that.
For sure. Yeah. Soften the blow. Soften the blow.
That's right.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen Vincent do is go on the Logan Paul podcast.
Yeah.
One of the biggest podcasts in the world. And see, Vincent is just fucking hilarious because he comes from a traditional, like, Broadway, Hollywood type background coming up. I mean, I'm sure it's okay for me to say you were in Grease.
Yes, I was.
The movie. He was in Grease.
Huh?
Yes, he was one of the dancers in Grease.
I was a singer and dancer in the movie Grease. That's why I'm a singer.
That's my mom's favorite movie of all time.
Yes, I am in that, and
He's in Grease.
It's been so profound because Olivia passing was so heart-wrenching. Mm-hmm. You know what's sad? You know you're getting older when you're starting. The people around you that were older than you are starting to leave.
Yeah,
and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so sad. you know, I don't want to make a mockery of it, but it's just like when I watch my wedding movies, we no longer count the people who are dying. We count the people who are left, okay? When we're watching that are still alive because they're all gone. And it's just like you check them off. We had Jeff Conway gone. We've got Dodie Goodman gone. We've got Eve Arden gone. We've got Annette Di Gregorio, who was, you know, we got, no, not Di Gregorio. That was one of the characters' name. That's what, she played Chacha Di Gregorio.
Yeah.
She's deceased, and now Olivia is deceased, and it was just really heartbreaking. But yes, I was in the movie Grease.
Oh my gosh, I have to see that. I have to see.
Yeah, we'll find it afterwards.
I gotta see it. I've seen that.
Point me out. I have to be there to point me out because you just otherwise you won't find me. The whole game of my family and all of them is they still watch it today, and the person who picks me out and spots me the most in the movie wins a prize. I mean, basically,
Nice.
it's like hysterical.
So you're in multiple scenes?
I'm in the whole movie, but I'm not one of the stars. I am. They gave me a featured role because I was actually there. I wasn't originally cast. This is in my story, and of me, and in my book too that I've written this. I was not originally cast in the movie. I was an alternate. That's how they were auditioning 10 male dancers and 10 female dancers to do all the musical numbers with the stars.
Gotcha.
Right? That's who you see in all the shows, in all the movies. So she calls me up, the choreographer, and she says, listen, Tony, oh, by the way, my stage name was Tony at the time.
No way.
Yeah, do you want to know why?
Yes.
Tony Jenna?
Tony Genna, because I thought Tony Genna sounded less Italian than Vinny Genna.
No, you did not.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Hey, Tony.
Right. No, think about it. Vinny Genna, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty Italian.
John Travolta had made Vinny Barbarino famous, that character, right, in Welcome Back, Kotter, and now he's doing the movie Grease. So it was during that time period. So Vinny, you see, in a wife beater white T-shirt with the sauce on it, you know, we call them gavoons back then. The Italians, it's like, all your Italian, they're going to write you like you can't believe now it's so politically incorrect. And so that, I didn't want that image. But you need now Tony,
come on.
He's wearing a pinstripe suit. He may be packing it. Yeah. And so that's the image I went. So I was Tony. So she calls me up and she says, Tony, I just want to let you know you were chosen as an alternate.
Wow.
An alternate means absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like being almost pregnant.
Almost pregnant?
Almost pregnant. Exactly.
Almost pregnant.
It's meaningless. You're not. Okay? So I'm an alternate. I was a nobody. And so I hang up the phone. I'm on the phone with my girlfriend at the time, Eileen, and I was like, I can't stand it. So I call her up. I call her back, and I said, listen, if I come down to Hollywood on my own buck, will you let me on the set? And I will just sit in the corner. That way, if you need me, I'm here in New York. You're going to be filming in California. There's no way if you need me, you're going to call me up. You're going to call some local up. And they said, Tony, we can't pay you anything. That'll be such a waste of your time. I said, no, but that is my choice. Only if you let me on the set. You have to be the one that says okay with that. And she said, all right, I'll put your name on the list.
That's a smart move.
It was a ballsy move.
It's a psychic move.
Let me tell you something. That was the only time in my life I could ever say I had a pair of big balls. That was I'm telling you. That was it. What they say about Italians are completely true, okay? Really.
When's your comedy
we're
tour?
We're not going to go into that.
Remember, Alex is Italian.
This guy.
Oh, you're Italian?
This
Oh,
guy.
you don't want to validate for me? Hey, look, you don't have to be psychic to figure him out. I got it. Okay. So I go to rehearsal, the first day of rehearsal, and this is where the greatest moment, even with Olivia and I. It's lunchtime. I'm brown bagging it because I wasn't in the cast.
Sure.
Right? And so it's lunchtime. Everybody leaves. I thought I was alone, so I'm eating my chicken salad sandwich, and all of a sudden I hear in this very high, beautiful voice and accented, are you nervous? Is this your first movie? I'm so nervous because this is my first movie. Oh. And when I turned around and saw that it was Olivia and who hung behind to have lunch with me, and I loved her at the time because she was famous at the time, of course, because of all her music, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, have you ever been mellow? I just wanted to, sing to my chicken sandwich was like out of my mouth.
Just break into song.
And so she's sitting there and we have a little conversation. Of course, then somebody realized that, hey, where's Olivia, when they were off at the commissary. So they came back, got her, and left me alone.
That is so sweet of her.
So that's how it started. That's very sweet. But Jeff, I'm saying Jeff Conaway, he was a great guy too. It turned out that Lorenzo Lamas, who played the jock, couldn't make it to the rehearsals for the first 3 weeks. Okay, so we're doing the dance numbers, and it was important that he was part, especially the gym scene. He was part of the gym scene, right?
Yeah.
So the choreographer looks over to me in the corner and goes, "Hey, we need you. You want to stand
Yeah!
up? But we can't pay you. We're not paying you." And I'm like, that, no problem. Well, I worked my ass off for 3 weeks. So the third week comes up, Lorenzo comes back. We don't need you anymore. I go back and sit in the corner. So, but you got to remember, we're in Hollywood. There's all kinds of actors there.
Right.
Usually you got your dancers, your actors, your people that always, who's that over there?
Right, yeah.
Oh, he's nobody. That's a nobody. He's not important.
Judgmental. And
He's trying to get into the movie. It's like, yeah, sure. So yeah, exactly. So it was at the end of the third week during one of the rehearsals, Alan Carr comes floating in on a platform. He introduces the producer, right? And at the end of that party comes up to me.
Alan Carr?
Alan Carr.
So funny.
And he says, Tony, I thought he was kicking me off the lot. He says, I heard what you've been doing. We want to reward you for that. So I'm going to put you in the movie, and I'm making you a featured dancer contract.
Wow.
I can't put your names on the credit because we already paid for that. It'll cost too much to change. So my name isn't in the credit. Uh-huh. But I get, and you can keep my fucking name out of the credit because I've been getting residuals just like John Travolta since that movie aired in 1978. It's 44 years old. I still get residuals. That's how I made it in the movie. So yes, I'm a featured singer and dancer, but more like a featured background player in all the scenes everywhere. And the gym scene, you see me the most. And I sang on the album. I had a chance to sing on the album too, which won Grammy Awards. It won, Best Album of the Year or something like that. It's been rated as one of the best musical movies historically ever made.
It is.
For sure.
Moneymaker.
Everybody knows about Grease.
It's been on. We're at my hotel. We're at the hotel to do this. I had to. Do you pick up expenses here, by the way? No, I'm joking.
Just call my people.
Do a big fucking podcast like this. I was expecting to get some.
Hey, we ain't impulsive.
I know, really.
I'm still going to come back with that story.
Either. What are you talking about? He didn't pay.
Really?
He had more money.
But you know what? We'll do better. We'll do better.
No, don't worry. Hey, I'm joking with you guys. This is my joy, actually, right?
Oh, it's our pleasure.
So that's how I got into Grease. And the only reason why I tell that story is because it takes believing in yourself, even if it's a small amount, to get you to take those risks.
Yes.
And truly, that's
incredible.
What I'm all about.
That's what we're all about.
And that's why I love you guys, because you fucking need me. I mean, you could... This is good. And that Alex guy. I mean,
that Alex guy.
You know what? I just had a download. Like you should consider doing some sort of unique spiritual unique comedy content, like some sort of stand-up content.
I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I said, when's your comedy tour?
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Dude, come on.
No, I'm serious.
But I need people around me. If you can come with me, all right, then I can do this. If I'm standing up there myself and I have to figure out what the jokes are, they don't come out.
We'll talk
but
about
it just happens naturally when I'm with people. It's just really fun.
Set up a comedy
But you
panel.
have to. I really seriously and really trying to get serious here. Stop fucking
serious.
laughing out there. Okay? It's just like, no, listen. Seriously.
How dare you?
there is so much that is needed. There is so much awakening. You talk about that it was just like you put this in. I didn't. I just awakened what was already in you. Everything has been in you, right? Everything has been in you. And the same with Alex over there. We have something for his, though. There is, I think, Docalax.
Oh my God! This has turned into the roast of Alex. This is the greatest.
I didn't.
Great.
You know why? You know who you roast? You know the fucking dude is so good looking.
Oh yeah,
he's so much better than me. I had to do.
He's the MILF magnet.
He's got a mustache on. He's the stand-in for Top Gun. Have you seen?
Literally.
Tom Cruise. I saw this dude standing in the background. It's just like, and the camera shifted. I mean, the cameraman himself got an erection. It really did.
Dude, Alex should be our model.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
Serious. So I'm only ragging on him because I love him so much. He's so good.
We pick on him because he's hot.
And
we
see,
pick
that-
on him because he's hot.
Come on.
Look at him cheesing over there.
Remember on the Isaac episode and literally the closing comments in the last few seconds on Isaac Weishaupt's podcast, I said something like, "You sexy as fuck," and then we ended the show.
Oh, you're sexy.
His audience is like, "What? Like, what?
yeah.
Are they like gay lovers? Like, what?
This is what it really is.
It's just a stupid meme, you know?"
No,
my God.
But no, seriously, we need to wake up, and that's one of the reasons why I'd even wanted to be on your podcast, really, and helping people.
And why I wanted you on, because
Yes.
I really do like. Let's just talk about how funny it is. This is what I brought up the grease thing for. As I was explaining to the audience, you came from a Hollywood background. Mm-hmm. And the funniest part to me, and I want you to tell this story. I want you to just go wherever you want to go, but I want to. This is important to me to tell the audience because it's so fucking funny. He goes on Logan Paul's podcast. His media PR team reaches out, gets him a spot. All Vincent knows is his, what was it, your grandson or your granddaughter? Right? Who liked Logan Paul? Which one?
my grandsons, 2 of them. Holy cow.
He knows his grandson likes Logan Paul. He has no clue.
I didn't know that until
at the time.
after I was on the show.
Dude, he goes on to Logan Paul's podcast blind. It's just a media opportunity. And I watched the whole thing just because I wanted to support him. And it's like, I whatever. It's the only episode I've ever watched of Logan Paul's podcast.
Yeah,
swear to God.
I watched it too.
Yeah.
It was,
and one of the first things when they're asking him, like, you can tell they're not really into the whole psychic thing, or at least his buddy's like kind of skeptical and Logan's like kind of really into it.
Yeah.
And he's like asking for a reading, and Vincent goes, "You guys were bitches. you guys were bitches in a past life."
You 3 guys.
And they loved it. They loved it, dude. And now you know what? Logan Paul just had a boxing match with who? Floyd Mayweather, right?
yeah,
Like he's one of the most famous people in the world. It's so funny to me that you humbled Logan Paul. And he kept in touch with you for quite a while.
He did.
Didn't he?
For the longest time, we were texting. He would text me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right? And he gave me merch. You know, he gave me
Nice.
merchandise, right?
Nice.
And I took home to the grandkids. And it's so funny because, you know, you always look for these things to do that your grandchild is going to be proud of. You know, my grandfather used to whittle.
Mine did too.
Did he?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, that's wonderful, Grandpa. That's fabulous. It's like
Very cool.
Okay, so I have a wooden bear, you know.
Yeah.
Right. But my grandsons, both of them, go into school one morning and say, "You are not going to believe this, but my poppy was on Logan Paul." And they're looking at him going, "Oh, you're full of crap."
Yeah,
And so
I'm
they
sure.
actually had to go home and ask my son, "Dad, can you print out pictures with Poppy and Logan Paul because they
Like
don't
young
believe
kids.
me in school?" And so I had a
hilarious.
bunch of pictures, and then of course they had the hoodies that they're wearing, and of course the hoodies are hanging
Like
off
the
of them, and
Maverick
it doesn't
or
make
whatever.
a difference.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. And they go into school and they're showing the kids were going crazy.
Oh, he's a
right.
superstar.
He is.
He's one of the most famous
superstar.
people on the planet.
But the 2 boys play baseball, and it's during baseball season. So all of a sudden, I go to a couple of their games, and the kids are going up to me and going, "Mr. Jenna, were you really on Logan Paul?" And I said, "Yes, I was." And they looked at me going, "Why?" In other words, what they said is, you are fucking old. And what was it, Grandfather's Day that they had you on? So why would you be on Logan Paul? And so it was the funniest thing, but you know what was even funnier? So meanwhile, I had 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds writing me, 16-year-olds after that, wanting all counseling. Oh my God, let me tell you something. This is the reason why I do the work that I do, because when you get to open up a person's heart and soul, man, they blurt out all of what they're really feeling. And I can't tell you how many of these kids were so miserable writing me, what do I do about this? And of course, I can't answer them because I don't have permission. Their parents have to give them. I did when I was a psychotherapist.
Important to mention, I don't think that's been said yet. He's also, by day, a professional psychotherapist. A real
psychic therapist. Psychic therapist. I used to be a I used to be psycho. so it is true. I'm psychic and psycho.
Yeah.
But that's his real career background.
Now, I am
therapy.
a psychic therapist, and that's exactly the type of work that I do with them. So
and that's why you're so good at what you do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank
Absolutely.
You.
Don't mention it.
And that's what your new book is about, right? It's about.
Oh my God! It's about the work.
Yeah.
It's about the work you got to do. I have spent 40 years, almost 40 years ago is when I started this work. So, man, I am a relic.
I would love to.
Stop.
Does anybody have any painkillers? My back is, all of a sudden, it's just hurting me. Okay. Alex, share some of the stuff that you're using over there. What is he? Does he have gummies? No.
This dude with the callbacks.
No,
is unparalleled.
Dude.
No. We're not getting anything accomplished. Would you stop?
We're getting everything
This is the
accomplished.
show. This is the show.
But yes, the book is, so for 40 years, I have been researching, studying, and doing work in the metaphysical field, the psychology field, and spirituality fields. All right. It was so important for me to really get to know people. And that's the reason why I even went back to school to get my psychotherapy degree, because as a psychic, I'm getting into the deepest part of your psyche. You've not even been there in a long time, okay?
I believe you.
That's how deep I go. And I'm figuring, if I'm going to do that, I better know the mind upside down and inside out. No other psychic does this, just so that you know. They don't care to. They don't go that deep. You know, they'll say, yes, you're getting a car next week. Isn't that sweet? It's a wonderful, but I want the deep shit.
Yeah.
I want to get to the root of people's problems, right? So I went back to school so I can learn this, and I'm able to use those tools as well to get deep. So now I'm dealing with people, and I'm doing readings, and thousands of readings all over the world. I had, it's hysterical. My wife and I just got back from South Africa. We were on vacation.
Oh, yeah, I saw on Facebook.
No way.
Right?
Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah.
It was the most amazing experience of my life. So talk about manifesting and creating. This week, I had 2 client calls, one from Ghana and one from Sierra Leone, which are in West Africa. And they're calling me from West Africa. Like, all of a sudden, I'm getting people from Africa calling me for readings, which is the coolest thing.
That's so bizarre, though.
Right? I know it is.
You just happened to be there.
Clear blue.
Yeah.
And and the one who called me, and I'm not, because it's all confidentiality, but he was let's put it this way, he was one of the most important people in Africa. Okay? That's who called me. And I'm like,
okay.
Whoa.
I don't want to ask. I'm curious, but I know you have confidentiality.
After
okay, yeah. We want to keep your confidentiality.
Right, definitely afterwards.
And knowing this man, he's telling the truth. Like, how many times, just ballpark figure, how many times have you appeared as a TV personality psychic?
Oh my gosh,
Dozens.
I can't even count them all.
Yeah,
you can go to my
Gaia,
website. You can see I got Gaia
Coast to
TV, and then I'm
Coast.
all on all individual television shows throughout the country, doing all of that as well, because it's really interesting. They even are interested in this information.
Yeah.
And so it's information that I did put into my book. But the one thing that I come to understand in doing all of this work and working with thousands of people, nowadays there's a consciousness shift, and you know that. That's why you're doing the pod and you're talking about all this stuff, because you know that all people are interested, and young as well now. There's been a complete opening up, right?
Yeah.
They want to know, well, what do you know about this new age, new thought, this metaphysical, paranormal? It doesn't make a difference what word you use.
Totally.
And we should throw out those words, because it's called knowledge.
Oh, gnosis.
It's called, yeah, exactly. It's just knowledge. People label it so that way they can try to figure out where it fits in their lives. But it's all of this wisdom and knowledge. And so now people are going after it, right? And they're picking up books on the law of attraction and manifesting, and they're picking up how to do this, and and Dr. Joe Dispenza, all these fabulous
Dolores
people.
Cannon.
Right, Dolores Cannon, watching The Secret, the regular movie The Secret. And they're trying to apply this stuff, which is the most profound ancient wisdom. And by the way, one of the reasons why it's ancient and wisdom, the difference between knowledge and wisdom is knowledge that works. Otherwise, it's just knowledge and information. That's
epic.
not wise. Now, wasn't that fucking wise?
That was fucking
Don't you
wise.
get a like Green Man?
You're getting a fist bump from that one, my man.
Okay,
that was
fist bump, you like that? A
so
fist bump on that
good.
one. It is.
Don't you get
It
the
is.
funny sage vibe?
1,000%.
Like we have this recurring theme on our show. I mean,
Yes.
I don't even know what episode we're on now, close to 60. And something we constantly come back to is in every great epic or myth in cinema or books or what have you, there's this heroic character who has some sort of wise, masterful sage mentor who is just hilarious. And I'm kind of getting that vibe from you.
Oh my God, I love
And
that. I like that.
they share
Like Dumbledore or Yoda.
Gandalf.
That they're my mentees, my mentors. Actually, I follow them. They don't.
But
follow
you're
me.
that
I
to
follow
us.
them.
You know what I mean?
I love that. I love that image. And let me tell you something. I worked that 40 years in order to be able to get to that point. Not for my purpose, but for everybody else's purpose. I was a dork. Just so that you
and
know.
we are.
Okay. No, I was the guy.
Not
I
Alex,
don't know
though.
if
He's
you
cool.
completely know my story.
Yeah.
But growing up until I was 17 years old, I was completely bullied in school. I was chased. When they caught me, they beat me up. They would shove me in lockers, flush my head in toilets, strip me and throw me into assemblies to embarrass me, pee on me, spit on me.
No.
Okay, that was my past. And then when I got home, Mom had some mental pathologies going on, so she used to abuse me too. And I was sexually molested as well. So I got all of that.
trauma.
That's in the past, but that's in the past. And so many people go through that, right? And so in the beginning, I latched onto things. The reason why I went into singing, acting, dancing is because as a little kid, I was damn good, okay? I had a vibrato and everything. If they had the voice back then, I would be, or the America's Got Talent, you would have seen me up there, the 13-year-old dorky New York Italian kid. Skinny as all. I had the biggest fucking head compared to my body. And I'm not talking about the one that makes babies. I'm talking about the one on my shoulders. I was skinny and scrawny, and the kids used to pick on me, and my mother used to dress me until I was 17 years old. Wow. I was afraid of them, and she used to comb my hair because she always wanted a daughter. So anyway, so they used to pick on me, but I was talented as hell. And every time I was on stage, I sang in choirs, and I did all the shows. I would hear this. This kept me alive.
Yeah.
If I did not hear this, I would have offed myself a long time ago.
It's the love that you needed.
It was what I needed. So to me, I thought I was supposed to be that person. And so my entire youth, my mission and my dream was to become a famous actor, a famous singer, actor, and dancer. I was misinterpreting what I was getting, but that's okay. And so we'll get there. I'll tell you how
take your time. Take your time.
shifted over. So entertaining was highly important in getting on that stage. If I could be on that stage all the time, I felt safe, you know? But the problem is I needed to be loved so badly that, can't do all that entertaining when you're at a party. So there's where my humor came in. And all of a sudden I started developing humor. And you heard me sit here, and I want to tell you, and I want to tell Alex, honestly, why I even with Alex, and I'm joking with him because I know he's accepting it as a joke. And
Of
that's the only
course.
reason why I joke.
Yeah.
When I was younger, it didn't matter to me whether you accepted it or not. I would use you if I could in some way. You were my friend. And I would be making fun of you at a party to make everybody laugh, you know, and it wasn't from heartfelt love. It was because I was trying to gain, you know, that affection and that acceptance. Eileen has been with me. That's my wife, so that everybody knows my wife. And she's not on the
she's
family
wonderful.
because she would be stealing this The camera
she's
automatically just shoots over to her because of who
She's
she
wonderful.
is.
She is
wonderful. She was my angel.
Oh.
But she had been with me since I was 17 years old, so she knew me. And anytime we got home from a party or anything, she would turn around and she would say, "Why'd you do that?" And I'm like, "Do what?"
Yeah, you didn't even realize.
No, she said, you were acting like an asshole with your friend. And I'm like, "Oh," he was laughing. "No, how do you know? You were making fun of him." I said, "Yeah, but everybody was laughing." "No, he wasn't. You were hurting him. And if he was laughing, it's because he didn't want to feel funny and make you feel bad." So it's like, she said, "Why don't you just be yourself? People will like you being yourself." Well, I was myself during the entire time I was being beat up. And it's just like, so why would I want to stay that? So I know people and I know what makes them change. And I know the defense mechanisms that step in. And that's what had happened to me. And so all of a sudden, I just let go of that. And this is all before my spiritual awakening, before this event that changed my life.
Oh, I got to hear about that.
Oh, it's incredible.
I got to hear about that.
Oh, wait a minute. We got to do a roll. You got to talk because this is,
That was the joke on George Norrie. That was the one that I was waiting. Is he was getting into a heavy conversation and then he just
right.
lit up an imaginary toke on stage. I lost my mind. See, is that not weird? 4 years ago he made
George
that joke.
Norrie, because I was saying this is deep shit. Give me this.
That was the joke that for 4 years has been stuck, and he did it on our show.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's
This is
epic.
when people ask me how'd you get into this, I tell them drugs. I mean,
Yeah. Shit, open up your
heavy,
mind.
heavy. That psilocybin. Let me tell you something. All right. No, not at all. All right, that's a joke. Okay,
Use responsibly.
Please, never. No, none of that. But it gets so deep. That's what it's like getting this deep. And where was I?
We were talking about how
Your spiritual awakening.
your
The spiritual awakening,
yeah.
right.
How you
Well,
came from a place of not
So it was
heart humor.
before of that, right? So I came from that inauthentic place just to get that attention, and I didn't realize that was a defense mechanism,
Which I think that
then
happens.
wrote about.
I think that's common.
It is. That's why my book is needed by everyone. No, seriously, because it's about how to understand why you are not getting what you're getting. So what I was saying before is all this fabulous information is out there. And everybody is picking it up now. When I say mainstream is even going to it. So it's very popular.
Yeah.
It's 5 years ago, I researched this, and the spiritual and self-help book publishing companies, right? It's a $33 billion a year industry.
33.
33
Of all numbers.
Of all
I know,
numbers,
right?
yeah.
33.
Which is
Christ
a
consciousness
spiritual
number, yeah, yeah.
Yes, it is. 3 is very spiritual.
Jesus died at 33. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And because people are getting all of these affirmation decks and all the books and stuff, but the problem is they're applying it and all they keep saying is, "God, it's not working. It's not working. It's not. Why isn't it working? Why isn't my life working?" That says that I'm going to attract all my abundance. I'm going to get a good job. I'm going to get a lover. It says it right over here, and none of that is happening. A matter of fact, the first title of my book was "God, It's Not Working."
I remember that.
What one man found to make everything work. And then my editor says, "No, that's not a good idea. We want to revamp that." And then I, meditated on it and came up with the secret that's holding you back. The secret that's holding you back. Pick it up today at Amazon.com.
The secret that's holding you back. Amazon.com. Vincent Genna. You got to get that book. You got to get
Do I
that
have
book.
to pay you for commercial?
Not at all.
Not
We
at
should
all.
be paying you,
That's
my
the
friend.
whole reason of bringing you here is to
This is really, I'll sign a waiver, okay?
Show love.
Stop.
Damn it.
Oh, stop.
No, okay.
a lot of blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this book. I've been
Yes,
privately
you-
communicating with
yeah,
him as he's
I
been
shared
writing
that
it,
with
and
you.
he poured his
did.
he's poured his soul into this book, and the entire intent, if I may say, I can't speak for you, but what I've observed based on what you've told me, his entire intention with this book is just to truly help people stop doing what's fucking their lives up and just make positive change.
It is. It's so interesting because we're laughing a lot here, right? We're laughing a lot here. But when you hear me, if you call me up and you want a reading and stuff like that, I will laugh with you because and the reason being, and it's true, a teaspoon of sugar helps the medicine go down.
There it is.
You like
there
that?
it is.
Well, with what you need to change in your life, I need a gallon of honey. So I make them laugh a lot, and then I go into the deep stuff. And I'm considered to tell it like it is psychic, because you and I are going to sit down and I'm going to tell you the shit you're doing that is getting in your way. That now, and understand, not that it's your fault that it happened that way.
Sure.
Not because it was set very early on, but when you continue it, now you're fucking up your own life and you don't even know that you're doing that. That's what my book is about. It's Stop Stopping Yourself. I wish I could have named it Stop Fucking Yourself, and, because that was...
That's great.
And become unfuckable. You know,
well, I think I might send the wrong message.
I know, exactly. It would. I know. I thought
become
of that.
unfuckable.
Right. No, it's unstoppable. But the point is that people don't understand that they don't believe what they think they believe. So it was so vital for me to have people understand who they really are, Ryan. And that's why, you know, I did this work. And it's important for me to walk around in that light. So what I tell people is, okay, this is how I envision the work I do and the way I do it. Say we're walking down the streets of Manhattan, okay?
Yeah.
All right, we got Nick, we got Alex, you're walking behind us like you usually do. It's like we got Ryan over here.
Holding up the perimeter, yeah.
You're looking around. You're so amazed at the tall building. It's like, okay, get this kid out of North Carolina, okay?
That's me. I've never been anywhere.
Oh, you've never been anywhere?
Oh, never left the
country.
country.
Then watch him, because they're going to rob him because he's looking up, and that's all they look for. The muggers in Manhattan, they look for all the tourists, right? So we're all of us are walking down the streets. You guys are talking, you're very involved in conversation. I look up, I see a baby grand piano that's being hauled from the 40th floor, maybe up to the 50th floor there, and the rope breaks. And now that baby grand is headed towards our head. I've got one of three responses that I can take. The first one is run quickly to the other side of the street and say, suckers, that's your karma, not mine. I'm out of here. Fuck that, okay? Right? Or the second choice I have is what a lot of other practitioners and luminaries like today. They're always oming and everything. They want to, tell you how everything is so wonderful. So I can just... Hey, Nick. Hey, guys. I don't mean to interfere in your life, and I really don't have the right to, but I just want to let you know, BAM!
There's the piano.
Yeah. Too late. Yeah. Too late. I just blew the mic off. He's going to have to reset the computer. I think he's got the...
smoking. It's just smoking.
Okay. The third choice is I push you the hell out of the way the best I can. Now, you may fall to the ground, you may sprain your wrist, break an ankle, but I saved your fucking life.
You're going to be all right.
Okay? You're going to be fine now. How would you like me to deal with you when I'm working with you? Do you want me to mamsy-pamsy around you and you keep going and crashing into that brick wall or have the piano fall on you? Or do you want me to save your life?
Yeah.
And guess what everybody says?
They probably want the mamsy-pamsy one.
No, they don't. I was a hospice social worker.
Oh, wow.
For 6 years, and I worked for a major company here that is also the name of a mayonnaise. And I don't know why they would want their name on a mayonnaise jar. It's just right, oily, fatty. It tastes good, creamy. But anyway, okay, so I was a hospice social worker. And believe it or not, in North Carolina, a lot of the doctors here don't like telling their patients they're dying.
I would imagine so. Yeah, it's hard.
They don't like to tell them that, but it's their responsibility. That's where you're supposed to hear it first. You have a terminal prognosis. I'm sorry. And we're bringing on hospice because there's a chance that will only be living 6 months or less.
Right.
I'm the one that had to tell most of my patients. They didn't know. And then their family members thought that they were protecting them, but don't tell my father that he's dying. Don't tell him.
No.
And as a hospice social worker, you can't lie to your patient or anything. And I would tell them right away, I can't lie to him. Yeah. I am going to tell him why I'm here or tell her why I'm here. And I did. I told most of my patients that they were dying. And do you know what they said to me? You fucking Italian, New York, obnoxious. No, they didn't say that. They said, thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
They said, thank you, because of course I would want to know that. Of course you would want to know something so important. So I say now to people, and I write this in my book as well, do you want me to just hold you by the hand, which is what you've already gotten for the longest time, which is what all this wonderful oming information is about, but it is changing shit in your life because there's things getting in the way that you're unaware of. Would you like me to help break that loose so that you can transform your life? That's why I do the work I do. When you're at one of my events, just sit next to it. The next event I do, you got to come.
Oh, please.
All on me. I won't even charge you the $10,000 I normally charge like Tony Robbins does.
Thank God.
I like Tony Robbins.
I love Tony Robbins, right? But okay, sit in the back, watch Eileen. Just watch Eileen. Because the entire time she's like this, she's listening to me, and then goes... I can't believe he just
She's cringing.
said that.
Like,
oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Oh my God, they're going to be writing us.
Oh no.
I say some of the hardest things to people, and at the end, they're up by Eileen going, oh my God, I needed to hear that so much. He's so great. He's so wonderful. Because people they do want to know if they're fucking up. They really want to know. When I was an actor and I wasn't getting the jobs, I was the one, I would go up to the director and the casting director and ask them, and everybody else was telling me, you don't do that. You're not supposed to ask that. That's improper for you. Why? I want to learn. I want to know. Nobody would tell me what I'm doing. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. I had to ask God. I got to a certain point in my life and I had to ask God, what am I doing wrong? I want to know. I'm okay. I can deal with it. If I'm really screwing up here, let me know. And so people have the right to know it. And they're not really. I use the word they're screwing up. We're joking here, right?
Sure.
If I get my seriousness on, truly, you can never, ever fuck up so bad that you have to feel that bad about yourself. And that is the major reason why people do not face their weaknesses, the things that are getting in the way, because it hurts them so bad because they were growing up and they received these horrible messages from the environment that they developed what I call the maladaptive beliefs. The I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not deserving enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'm not lovable enough. And that's from all that environmental stuff. Well, that's packed in every single human.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, and there are brain anomalies that your brain intentionally does to hide all of those shitty self-beliefs in order to make you function. You can't walk around every day hearing, oh, you're a fuck up. I'm going to fuck up today. I'm no good. I'm not. Why am I even going to school? Why am I going to work?
Drive you crazy.
Right. Well, you do see the people that don't have the defense mechanisms. Those are the depressed people that are walking around. Those are the people who feel that they're lower than low. And some of them become narcissists as a compensation for how bad that they feel. Narcissism becomes a personality disorder because it's so destructive, but it's not a personality.
Right.
That makes sense.
It's a result. It's a result of a person who feels that they are the lowest of low, worse than dirt themselves, and they still need to function. So how does the brain get you out into the world to function? It will create a whole different set of beliefs that help get you through that. So a narcissist, it's all the way over here. For everybody else, there's all of that in between stuff. This is all in my book. It spells it out specifically as to why the brain does that. Why? The two highest functions of the brain is one, keep you alive. Your highest function. That's the highest function.
Sure.
Second highest function is to protect you. That's how it keeps you alive. Now, we know how it protects. For example, we had the coronavirus coming around, right? And everybody's getting a low-grade fever. It is not the coronavirus that's causing the fever. It's your brain doing that purposely. It raises your body temperature to make it an unlivable environment for the virus or the bacteria in order to get rid of it.
Sure.
Right? Okay. So it does many different things like that. It develops antibodies. That's a way it protects you. How does it protect you when you have emotional pain? People don't think about that.
Yeah. How?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. This is on your podcast now. Man, oh man, people will be telling me left and right all over the place, no, that's not true, but it is. Okay, I did research on Alzheimer's when I was in school and getting my psychology degree. Plus, my mother had Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
Here's the funny commonality with everybody who has Alzheimer's and even dementia. Not one of these people had a Brady Bunch, sweet little growing up childhood life.
That's true for everyone I've met with Alzheimer's.
Same.
They all miserable. Okay.
Trauma.
Yeah.
What do you do when you
Wow.
get older automatically? You start ruminating.
Yeah.
You know, Alzheimer doesn't start at 35. If it was a disease, why doesn't it start at 35 years old? No, you have to wait until you're older. Only because when you're 35 years old, you're not paying attention to those pains because your mind has created some really strong defense mechanisms. As you get older, these defense mechanisms weaken. And so you sit there and you're ruminating and reminiscing about your life and how miserable it was. And to remember that you're 60, 70, 80 years old thinking about your past. My mother abused me and all she would be thinking about is her past. It was so painful. I believe Alzheimer's and dementia are defense mechanisms.
That's
our
very
brain
profound.
purposely turning off. And what is it? How come it doesn't turn off our vision? How come it doesn't turn off our taste or something else like
Just
that?
the
Or they
memory.
would call it just memory. Wow. Just memories.
That's
so
mind-blowing.
now, yes, does it cause people pain to know that they're losing their memory? But let me tell you something. It is far less pain than recalling your memories that they have, especially at that age. So if that happens, if your brain is willing to protect you that much with something like that, it definitely is going to protect you to be able to get you through your course of life. So you can't walk around with, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. You have to hide that, and your brain will suppress it. And this is what my book is all about. So why the fuck does this matter?
It's the most important thing.
But you know why? Really? I mean, really, psychologically, if you can just forget about all those pains in the past, then, and that's what they're telling you to do.
You've learned no lesson. You haven't improved.
Who the fuck cares about lessons? Seriously. Nick. Okay, seriously. No, you and I, we're talking. Who cares about the fucking lessons? Why do I have to grow? Why do I have to know anything? But you're missing a major point. But keep going. Answer me. Why do I have to know anything? What's the difference?
It's funny because we were actually just talking about this on the last episode. It's like, if you haven't learned any lessons, if you haven't experienced things, you have no reference to view beauty from. There's no darkness to highlight the light. You know what I mean?
So you're one that believes you need darkness in order to see light?
Not necessarily, but I
Good.
think the darkness has to exist.
Has to exist.
For the light to exist.
Okay, so we're going to fucking get into this one.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let me tell you
Yeah.
why it's important. You haven't touched on why it's important. And it has nothing to do with learning. It has to do with manifesting. Because we are now powers. We are body, mind, and spirit. So now take those hidden thoughts and plug them into the wall. So now you got people who are attracting relationships and they're failing. And you got people trying to go out for jobs and they're failing at them, or they're not in rewarding jobs and they're miserable. And then you got the people on the face of the earth that are miserable who are lashing out at each other, like the people that are doing it right now here all over the place, or they decide to just get and start bombing another country or pick up a gun and walk into a school and start shooting children because they're walking around. Why? Because they've had nothing in their life but this stuff that they don't want in their life, and they have no idea that they're the ones that are putting it there, because we are manifesting powers. That's why it's important to learn, because when we get to the other side, there's no test. There's no scoring test that somebody is going to say, well, how much did you learn down there, sucker? What we are trying to do is experience what we already know. See, learning is another word, again, that we misuse. We are not learning anything. That was given to us upon creation. Everything. Like this couch does not have to learn how to be a couch. Everything in its cells says it's a couch. It's it. So the moment we were created, every piece of knowledge that there ever is within us. However, in order to know that, you have to experience that. So you're only here to experience what you already know. So you're not learning.
That's way better.
Damn.
No, just experience it. You're just experiencing it.
It's like Garnet said on Steven Universe. It's an experience.
Yeah.
It's
I think
an
it was Garnet.
experience.
Yeah.
It's all just an experience.
Right?
That is so
And
profound.
so you are now manifesting, once you become a young adult and on, you are manifesting your own life.
Yeah.
So now here is the thing. Here's the thing. You said something important. You need darkness in order to see light. And I'm going to disagree with you on that. Because what difference does it make if we know that this is light? This is the only way that we can see light is with darkness. Why can't we just know something? If it's within us, just know it then and experience it in a light way rather than experience it in the dark way and then we finally see the light. You can experience light because you can experience love. Are you saying, and I'm just bringing this up because it was such an important point. Do I need hatred in order to experience love? And to know what love feels. Right, exactly.
No,
so you can
not.
right, but we do experience all of that. Matter of fact, they've made religions based on the idea that we need suffering.
Right.
We need suffering. We need hurting. Oh my gosh, it brings out the best. Look at how Of course it's going to bring out the best in us. We're divine beings. And I can promise you right now, you do not need suffering in your life to prove that. You need belief in your life.
Certainly.
That's a very good positive point.
It's more so what I was saying. I don't believe that you have to have experienced darkness to see or experience light. I'm fortunate enough to have had a pretty easy life.
Okay.
Like
Good. All right. Good.
I've had a pretty
Told you
easy.
he was fucking spoiled.
Honestly, I'm the baby
Silver
of the family.
spoon.
Yeah, I'm the baby of the family.
That's great.
I've had a pretty easy life, and I am overwhelmingly positive in every area of my life. Like I don't see the point in ruminating on any negativity, but more so from like a cosmic perspective of like duality, you know.
Oh, do you know what duality is? I got a real good one for you. Really,
let's go.
We really need a big long toke on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's get it.
get me a. Oh my God.
We need to send Eileen to the store.
I know. Yeah,
take
really?
an
Wait, you
intermission.
got a store over here? Oh, yeah, that's right. When in the college, I'm sure they have a store there. No. Okay. So duality. Duality was created only by humankind, not by God. God had nothing to do with duality. And we've always, this is the stuff that I hear from you. Okay. I got to tell you what God is too. You're gonna blast out of this one.
God is a woman.
It's intelligent. Neither. It's right. We're the ones, by the way, that decided the sexes. There was no sex. There was no gender. There was nothing. It was energy. We were energies. We were pure lights, right? And this God force, this force was of intelligence. And here's what's interesting, because the majority of philosophers will say whatever force was out there come from intelligence.
Yeah.
So if they're intelligent, would they have created duality? No, it would be nothing but positive, because they would know how not to have the opposite, because that's what makes them intelligent. And so you've got all this positive stuff going on. What created reality, the moment we were conceived and however we came to form, and the way I believe is actually that we're created, the God force divided itself into us, which is why we are divine beings too. So now we're all this positive, loving stuff, right? As souls now, okay? And then we decide to come into this world because we need to experience ourselves. So as intelligences now, all of us, though we were the young ones, the God force was kind of like the leader, the teacher of the group. That's when it decided, hey, listen, let me create and help form places out there you can go to experience who you are. That way you get to know, you get to see your own light, you get to know what I know. You'll get it. But remember, you have dominion over everything. You get to go and you go off in all of those different places. So we had a chance to go off and start experiencing ourselves in order to know what we really know, okay? But always being the most powerful one, being omnipotent, okay? Once we got down here, and of course once we got down here, we decided decided to do it in the way that we would forget. Originally, we didn't. The story of Lemuria and Atlantis, which again, those are words.
Yeah.
We love
and
talking
whatever
about
they were
those,
named.
though.
Okay. Well, they existed.
Right.
Lemuria was actually, we existed as asexual, androgynous. Right? It was in Lemuria that we then decided to divide ourselves right at the end of Lemuria and Atlantis overlap each other in some type of energetic way, right? Atlantis is kind of the story of where we fucked up. That's the whole purpose of the story of Atlantis. We were kind of like let loose in this planet here, like a bunch of kids let loose in Toys R Us without any adult supervision. And we went hog wild.
And unlimited money.
Unlimited, that's right,
Yeah.
to do what
In
you
the
want.
Toys R
We were
Us metaphor,
playing
yeah.
with everything.
Yeah.
And then, but we were playing with stuff and we were having fun and it was good in the beginning. But then I'm watching my neighbor over there and he looks like he's having more fun than me. I want what he has. And then that's when we started to think that I want that and need that. And then our power became strong and we were harnessing it and we used the power to destroy each other, okay? We realized that was the wrong thing to do. And that's when we also limited our life here. And so we came in short years. So every time we incarnate down here, we will forget all of that stuff.
Wow.
So that we can start all over again and have a new life. But then we started to forget that we're attached to a higher force, that we are divine and why we came here. And that actually started pushing us away. And there's where duality was first created. There was no duality because we're all connected. Once we disconnected by forgetting, evil is disconnection from the higher force. It does not exist on its own. It only existed the moment we disconnected. So anything without that higher love, that higher connection is really what evil is. It's live backwards. Really, it's truly live backwards.
Damn.
And the devil is lived backwards. That's if you live backwards, you could be a devil. You could be a devil. Alex could be a devil. Oh, he's a devil.
A handsome devil.
A pretty devil.
I know, really. This is like, yeah.
And the viewers are like, still haven't seen his face yet. Sorry,
know. Yeah,
off
I know.
topic. But
You got to get him on camera at
yeah.
some time.
They've
Well,
been-
you know, Alex, they're purposely doing that.
Yeah.
I'm in control here.
we're holding him
Well,
back.
Not only that, but if they put you on camera, then all of the watchers, your followers and everything, they're always going to want to see you
Yep.
and forget it. Who wants to see?
Who cares what Bledsoe said to anymore?
I know,
It's
really,
freaking,
right, exactly.
It's the
So
milk
they gotta
magnet
keep,
show.
they're doing it purposely. Really.
This
No.
Anyway, sorry
this
to cut
is
you off.
So,
No, that's okay,
So,
but yes.
so cool what you're saying. It offers a completely different perspective that I haven't heard. When we talk about duality, it's like we think of it as this preordained thing that existed since the beginning. But it's so cool because we also believe in like the collective conscious and like the original God energy, the original, and how we are all fractal
Cool,
pieces
cool,
of
cool,
that.
cool.
But it's really interesting, this allegory of Atlantis and how that's where duality and decision and evil was created. It sounds a lot like the Garden of Eden.
It is the whole, actually, the Garden of Eden is all about that. And finally, we have a pope that admitted the stories of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, he said, is a metaphor. They did not exist. And really, if you look at Adam and Eve is the first physical incarnation
It's
here.
like the fall from Atlantis.
That will, yes, that
Wow.
we
Esoteric
are the
meaning.
ones that created the bodies, and we divided ourselves into two beings intentionally because together, your two greatest gifts that we were given upon creation was intuition and intellect. And the purpose of intellect is to understand and label your intuition, what's happening. Okay, that's the only reason. So now here we are in Atlantis, and we go down a slippery slope, and nothing can pull us back. So when we got to the other side, we realized, all right, we can't do it that way, guys. We got to do it another way.
Yeah.
First, we have to limit our times down there. Second of all, we need a governing tool, kind of like you govern electricity and you govern your sound.
Or like a golf cart to
right?
make it drive slower.
Right,
Like
to make it
governor,
drive
yeah.
slower, right.
Yeah,
So
or
we
go-kart.
created the chakra system.
Yes. I was hoping it would get there.
Chakra system.
I told you, this is the man that had me believe in
Absolutely.
chakras, dude.
Right, but
I feel like I'm in church.
It's a governance system, and I will tell you this right now: I don't put any practitioners down in their work. Everything is necessary. However, swinging a pendulum over one of your chakras isn't going to do shit, okay? You're in control of it. The purpose of the governing system is to keep you from knowing the force, the power, and being able to use it all while you're still young in your understanding of it. So your chakra system are levels. And as soon as our goal is to get to our 7th spiritual center, our highest chakra. Edgar Casey called them spiritual centers. Our highest chakra.
He's a big Casey guy.
Very big Casey guy.
Yeah,
Studied him and then was asked to speak there. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
When you have those all connected, then you will have full use. This is where the concept of ascension.
Rainbow
That's
body.
a new term, by the way, ascension. You're going to be hearing that term now because everybody wants to ascend. They want to ascend. They want to ascend to the 5th dimension. The 5th dimension was a fucking great singing group, and that's all it is. This is like they can't get it right in the 3rd dimension, and they want to ascend to the 5th dimension. It's like, holy shit.
I feel like I'm in a pot of boiling water right now.
It was what the 60s were about. The whole reason why people used LSD and psilocybin and all of that. And now, oh God, you got your spiritual groups now. Now they made it. This is going to be spiritual. We're going to do ayahuasca. Ayahuasca. And we're going to do it in the mountains and a retreat.
Vincent is shitting on everything that we believe right now.
Oh, really? Are you? Oh, shit. I'm
No, I love it. I love it.
Oh, my God. I'm shitting. Here's the reason why. No, I believe in it. Listen, you have to understand something. I believe in its use, but only temporary. What you've got to understand, if you are here to consciously make choices to understand who you are as a powerful divine being, that means no drug, no process, no stone, no crystal is meant to do it for you. And I know the people who've done ayahuasca, and they want to say, and here's the other thing about all these labels and the duality. You know why people will always label something that they can't control and figure out, but this is the reason for it. Oh, the whole reason why we have all this negativity. We have to understand it now in the world. We want to become spiritual and we want to grow. So you have to understand that negativity is part of it, that suffering is part of it, that duality is part of it. It's excuses. That's why my book is so important. They're adult-made mind excuses. You're going to have to do your homework and read the book.
I gotta read this book.
What the adult-made mind is, they're fucking excuses we make because what we're trying to do is hide what we're really believing. So we don't want to believe that I'm fucking creating negativity in my life because I think I'm a dipshit and I don't know that, and so I'm not working on that. So I'll just call it it's duality because negativity is always going to be here. We can't be perfect. We create excuses for everything. Back in the old days, we were sinners.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot because your approach is 100% focused on just forget the negativity, just fucking heal.
Focus on the positive.
Focus on the healing and the positivity.
And forget the excuses.
Yeah.
And so what does ayahuasca do? Okay, listen. If you gave me some fucked up herb juice that tastes like cow manure in a smoothie. Guess what I'm going to do after I drink that shit?
Throw up.
I'm going to throw up like crazy. But you see now, everybody feels bad throwing up, so you know what they label that as? You're throwing up your inner demons.
Purging.
Yeah, purging.
Yeah.
You're purging. No, you're not. Your body is not supposed to have cow shit.
You have food poisoning.
And it's going to throw it up.
Yeah.
It's not, oh my God, it becomes so psychological. So everybody walks away. They do walk away feeling like something happened. Placebo effect. Where are these people now that have done all ayahuasca?
Well, I've done DMT.
I understand.
I'm one of them.
And I want to make something very important known. I'm glad that you are approaching these things with a different, fresh perspective.
I'm glad
I don't want this. We don't want this thing to be an echo chamber. We want to bring in all.
Absolutely.
This is enlightening.
Ironically, I agree with everything you're saying with a nuance. Exactly. I think that these things like the psilocybins, the DMTs, the shamanic plants, the crystals, the energy work, the meditations, blah, blah, blah. I think they are only tools in a toolbox of spiritual practices for us to just dig deeper into who we already are. I don't believe they're the answer.
Yeah, well, no, they're not the answers, but
Right.
let me tell you something. You're digging deep into who you are. What did you discover about yourself when you used that, when you did that? What did
DMT?
you discover? Yeah.
Shoot, what I discovered is there's a whole unfathomable reality outside of time and space that folds in and out of itself, and I believed I was going to be there forever, and I saw the face of a goddess.
Okay, and a lot of people have done that, and they say get all that experiences. Okay, which is all fabulous and stuff like that. Let me ask you another question: do you need to be here in the planetary physical form in order to experience what you just explained?
Ask that question again. My brain was.
Do you need to be in physical form, incarnated, in other words, to experience what you experienced, or could you have experienced that just in your soul form? Wouldn't you have experienced it that way too? In just your soul form, you would have seen even more, right?
Oh, like after death
yeah,
and
after
moving
death
on?
and stuff.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
see all of that, okay.
For sure.
Why do you think we're here in the physical form then? Is it to experience everything we're supposed to know in the spiritual form? Or is there some other reason why we're here in the physical form? Why would we put ourselves through limitation?
I would say doing DMT was a lot like, in the moment, it was a lot like dying.
That's what they
Right.
say. That's what they
It-
say.
it-
However,
like dying.
here's the point. But you're not dying. And dying doesn't help you live.
Right. Let me silence my phone. I'm sorry. I'm getting a call.
So
This-
the point is, I know people are experiencing these fabulous things, but all I keep looking at is the earth, and I keep looking at life on it, and they have been experiencing those things for how long? How long have they been using those drugs? How long have
thousands
the
of years.
Indians?
Yeah.
And guess what? Do you know where so many of the American Indian souls are right now?
Where?
In the earth.
Yeah.
And do you know why they're stuck in the earth? Because they thought this was God.
Oh, wow.
They didn't know. Yes, we want to keep turning to all of these wonderful, their information that you have to put everything together. Not ancient wisdom is fabulous, but it didn't solve the problem now, did it? Guess what? All of that ancient wisdom has been stored in Tibet, in India, all of those places that have honored it. Where is India today? One of the poorest nations in the world. What changes did they make knowing all of that stuff? So something's got to be missing. Albert Einstein himself said you cannot solve a problem with the same set of beliefs that created it. So obviously something is missing from the ancient wisdom, from all those practices. We're going back there now.
Yeah.
And using it because we're just discovering it and it becomes in conscious awareness. I'm not poo-pooing it, but what I'm
Yes. Of course,
saying
Yeah.
is the whole reason for even the drug thing back in the 60s is people finally discovered in some way, holy shit, we're more than just physical beings.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was a really great discovery. Now, here's the point. You need to be able to experience that without the drugs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what like the
You need
Tibetan
to-
monks
yes.
do. That's when they spend their whole lives meditating and they get there without any
Yeah,
drugs.
no, you're going to get me off on that one too.
And then and there are stories of those monks taking acid and nothing happens. Nothing happens. Taking ayahuasca, nothing happens.
No,
to
nothing
them.
happens. Of course, nothing
They've already
happens.
gotten there.
They've gotten there, but here's the point. Now, you know what those monks are trying to do? They're trying to teach people, how do you get there from here? Get me up in the mountain and remove negativity out of my life. And guess what? I'll be just like the Dalai Lama.
Right.
But how do you do that here in life?
Yeah.
How do you do that in your own world, with your own family, with your own issues, with your own problems? And yet you can. But everybody looks for the easy way out or the easier way out. This is going to work. They look for the new little, fads,
Sure.
shall we say?
Sure.
This is all fads. Now it's coming back. Mark Furman. Yes, that's his name. Mark Furman, he's a fabulous doctor who wrote all these. He wrote Omnivore's Dilemma, all these food books. The last book that he had, oh my God, I knew I'm going to forget the title, is all about his journey and his recent journey with psilocybin and LSD, that it was researched. The whole reason why LSD came out to start with was actually to help veterans experiencing PTSD.
Oh,
because
beautiful.
when they microdosed and they gave some of the psilocybin to these vets, they were able to release the PTSD, as well as any type of addictions that helped people with that as well. Okay,
they still use that for that today.
Yes, they are using it, and of course, everything got out of hand. And we know with Timothy Leary, he actually pushed everything out into the openness way too much. So the government cracked down on it, but there's actual institutions studying it again. But here is the point: as smart as beings that we're supposed to be, we're not understanding that you can use any tool. You can use any drug. You can use any whatever it is, any method, any practice. But until you get it consciously, that you are consciously saying and believing, wow, I am this divine being, or now I know what I know. This is fabulous. And you are compassionate. You start bringing out those traits, and you're walking, you're talking, you're living that light, and you keep evolving. You have to do that consciously. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. Voltaire knew this, that author from that dark author, right?
Absolutely,
and the speaker. He wrote, and we studied this in our philosophy class. It was great. He wrote a question, and they still use it today to do an argument. His scenario was, would you rather be the most intelligent man on the planet, knowing everything, but absolutely miserable and unhappy? Or would you rather be the most ignorant person on the planet, but yet happy, living joyously all the time?
Ignorance is bliss.
Okay, so what would your choices be?
To be perfectly honest with you, I just want to be happy.
So you would choose the ignorant one?
I would.
But see, that's where I differ. Is I would just want the truth.
You want the truth, so you would suffer. It's okay
for the truth. I already have.
Okay.
In a way of speaking, like
right. You
and
have. But do you realize that you just answered a fallacy question? There's only one answer to that question. You can't answer it because it's a wrong question, and
it's kind of loaded.
Here's where it's loaded. If you were the most intelligent person around, wouldn't you know how to make yourself happy?
Oh, man, that's real knowledge.
If you were the most ignorant person around, how would you even know what happiness was? There is Flowers for Algernon is a book written just on that story.
Is it?
Yes, it is. It's
Flowers of Algernon?
Flowers for Algernon. It's a book and it's a movie. Watch the movie because it's fabulous. It's about how a doctor found the most ignorant person. What a wonderful guy. This guy is always laughing, but he didn't realize that everybody was making fun of him. Everybody was joking about him, but he would laugh and he'd be so joyous, but he didn't realize that people were making fun of him. A doctor found him and found a procedure where he could reverse his ignorance. And he did the surgery on him. And he had this nurse that paid attention all the time. So not only did this guy start to grow intelligence, but then in his intelligence, he was realizing that these people were making fun of him. And then he also fell in love. But there was a side risk to the surgery, that it could reverse itself. And if it reverses itself, not only will you go back to the original, it will get worse and it will kill you.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
And so you got to watch the story.
So I think this is the first book in 59 episodes that I have read that these two haven't.
What, The Flowers of Algernon?
Yeah, I've read it.
No way!
Magic things are happening with Vincent.
Round of applause for Alex.
See that again, Alex?
Yeah.
And then next time we'll have a movie.
You're welcome back whenever you want to come back.
Oh, thank you.
I was actually just
I'm
thinking,
telling you.
and I'm not saying we have to wrap up right this minute, but we're already past an hour, so we're definitely gonna have to.
Are you kidding me?
But it's okay. It's okay.
Flew
Oh my
by.
God,
I'm
you
just saying.
fucking guys dominate everything.
I'm just saying we got to do a part 2 eventually.
We can always do a part.
man.
But can we be real for a minute? Can we
be
get
real? Absolutely.
And like you
Seriously.
could, you could help me figure out some real shit.
Yes.
Not only being a therapist, but a psychic, and just generally funny as fuck and adorable to look at in every different scenario. You know what's funny? Everybody always remembers him, and also just like a brilliant dancer and singer.
Wait, do you want me to pull my pants down?
Yeah, you know what's funny?
I don't want you to have the material on the lips.
True story. Everybody that met Vincent at our wedding remembers him as the fabulous guy with the head to toe purple suit. He's the Joker, for God's sakes.
Oh,
I mean,
really? That was really
I really do think
he's purple. I didn't wear purple. It was black.
Was that Emily's wedding? You wore the purple suit?
No, it was all black.
You
yours
had a
was
purple
black.
suit.
Emily's wedding was purple.
There you go. Yeah, he had a purple suit,
Yeah.
like a wonderful purple suit. Anyway, let's be real.
Go ahead.
So to be real for a second, you touched on like the PTSD with trauma.
Yes.
And like I keep putting out this persona on the internet of being like this my wife made the joke like, you're the crystal king, like my whole persona is like, I never gave a fuck about crystals until a year ago. You know what I mean?
Right,
and now
course.
the more I connect with them and the more I become fascinated with them. And plus I have this whole story about like the CIA introducing me to the Rosicrucians who taught me about esoteric and crystal things and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, point being, you see me, someone who's been through incredible trauma, with my dad going on TV when I was a little boy. And then what felt like at the time of being a 13-year-old child, the whole world just trying to hate us and mock us and smear us and just shit on our name and our reputation and even our sanity and our credibility. And like me as a child, went into this little box, like no one ever wants to listen to me. No one wants to see me for who I am. They think I'm fucking crazy. They think I'm a fucking liar. And here I am at 29. I'm covered in crystals, for Christ's sake. I mean, I've probably got 50 on my body right now.
Not to mention,
I have one under my shirt, by the way. Bam! Concealed carry, always.
Absolutely, bam.
Keep my cords on me. Point being, do you see like a victim of PTSD desperately seeking to heal trauma and then like finding DMT and psilocybin and meditation? And it's like, when you know the real me, it turns out like, I'm really just trying to do everything in my power to heal and teach other people how to heal. So that's my question is like, from your book, how do you teach people without it, with just the power of belief? Like what would you say is what you have found such breakthrough results and breakthrough evidence that is how people out there listening who have their own traumas, their own PTSDs, their own fucked up abuses and terrible situations, how do they heal? How do they do it without all the tools? Just
The problem is what you're saying is, and first of all, you're not using all of that to heal your past. The reason why you were drawn to it is because it's who you are to start with. There's two parts of who we are, the soulful part and the human part. Your human part was damaged. Your soul was never damaged. My human part was damaged. Okay? Your soul knows exactly what it wanted to experience. All of this stuff is putting your human side in touch with your soulful side. That's all it's doing, and why it's coming out, and why it's coming out with these guys too, because the same thing is happening, is the human side is being in touch with the spiritual side, because you don't have to live here just as humans. Otherwise, you'll be experiencing what some of those other ones, just a flatlined life and unrewarding and unfulfilling altogether, right? Not manifesting anything. The way you have to start is by believing that you're more than your experiences that define you. And you're more than what humans will say you are. It's not up to a human to decide whether you're good enough or whether you're smart enough or whether you're bad enough. That gets to be your decision in how you want to believe about yourself. But the problem is we want so desperately, love is the bottom line power, right? But it's not the greatest power. There is one power far greater than love. And you'll not hear that by most. Most will say love is the greatest power. No, it's not. Belief is. Because without belief, love will stay flat. It will be meaningless. You
That's
have
a very
to
good point. It's like they have to be hand in hand. Yeah.
That's right.
For either to work. Yeah.
You must believe that you are something more than this. That's where it starts, Ryan. You have to believe. You got to form some kind of belief. It's so funny because even atheists, all of those people, cynics, whatever you want to call them, that
Nihilists.
say that there isn't a power, they're full of shit.
Yeah,
they know.
I'm sorry to say, but they're full of shit.
No, what they don't believe is the definitions that have been given about God. That's what they don't believe. They haven't heard something yet to prove to them that there is a God. I don't like the way people are talking about God, and I don't blame them either. Sure. How did God come up in all these religions? And religion was first formed off of fears. Back in paganism, All those beliefs that they created were strictly out of fear. I don't want the god of lightning to strike me with lightning, or the god of fire, or the god of day, or the god of night.
Yes, to give them sacrifices.
So it was all about that. And yes, sacrifice, make the gods happy, and all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So then one day, one man turned around and he's going, wait a minute, this is ridiculous. It can't be all about fear. It can't be about fear. We're supposed to be loving. He knew inside of him it had to do something with love. So he realized then there's got to be a greater power, a one force that just believes in love. And this guy's name was Abraham. And so that's how the concept of a one God came along. But he never denied that there were the other forces. But it's all about love. And when you feel like crap and you don't think you're good enough, you're smart enough, you're worthy enough, you're deserving enough, bottom line is I'm not lovable enough. And every single person is walking this planet with that belief. So it doesn't matter then what tool you use to get there. You still have to get to the point of believing. And it starts with understanding you're more than. You can't, as a psychotherapist, there were only so many types of people we could work with. And we would know right away if a client came in, we would know if they were workable or not. And they had to have a strong enough, at least some piece of ego left. And that the next time I come on the show, can we please have a discussion about that fucker? I mean,
about who? About who?
Ego has got such a bad rap.
Oh, yeah.
You need your ego. It's the greatest gift. As a matter of fact, God and your ego are one. It's the gift that God gave you to identify who you are. That's all it is. But when you go for psychotherapy, you need some kind of core strength that we as the practitioners can latch on to help you to start feeling better about yourself. So you need something. You form a belief. Form some kind of belief of any kind that makes you not of a dark lord. Anakin Skywalker. Okay, let me tell you something.
You're the best guest we've ever had, Vincent. Okay? You're the best guest.
George Lucas is very spiritual and metaphysical. 100%. And I came to find that out through a producer who was trying to get me a television show who was friends with him. He says, absolutely. Star Wars was basically written about us.
Yes.
And our connection with the Force. Anakin Skywalker did not start off as Darth Vader, did he?
Nope.
No, he didn't. He started off wanting to be a great Jedi Knight. That's the rest of us. Mm-hmm. By the way, the story of Star Wars is actually a contemporary version of Cain and Abel. Okay.
Oh, my
Abel
God.
always wanting to be Luke Skywalker and a Jedi Knight. And Cain originally started out as Anakin Skywalker. Because here's the problem. Once you separate, what was happening to Anakin, the story was that there was trauma coming up in his life with his wife, right? And he feared that he couldn't do enough. First, he feared that nobody was recognizing his own greatness, so he started to feel inadequate. I'm not good enough, and he couldn't tolerate that. And so the emperor actually represents that outside temptation to try to convince you that there's something greater than this positive love, because the love isn't doing it. I can't keep her alive with love. And what did the emperor say to Anakin? If you come to the dark side, you will be able to have more power to keep her alive. And believe it or not, when you see people on the dark side today, it's because they think that being on the dark side, they're not dark people.
Right.
They're not dark people. There's no dark people.
There's two things that I want to say in reference to what you're talking about right now. By the way, you're literally embodying the pure essence of this show right now, like relating all of these mystical concepts to Star Wars.
Star Wars.
So two things.
Absolutely.
Two things. Yoda. These are both Yoda quotes. Yoda tells Luke that people are attracted to the dark side because it's quicker, easier, and more seductive.
That's it.
That's literally exactly what you're saying right now. It's quicker, it's easier.
And more seductive, right. And seductive is another word for temptation.
Right.
Same thing. They're tempted because they're told that you can get more with this.
Exactly.
Okay, that you can't get with the positive side. And that's why you have people flipping over to the dark side now, because the light side, they were still getting hurt.
Yeah.
Right? So it's Cain. When you're detached from that higher force and you forget who you are as a powerful being, you feel rejected, you feel abandoned, you feel neglected, then you start to feel resentful and angry and enraged.
There it is. That was the other thing that I was going to say. Yoda also says fear leads to anger. Anger leads to suffering. Suffering leads to hate. That's the dark side.
That is the dark side.
And that's the story that Anakin literally went through. He was afraid, and it made him angry.
And it made him angry. It was always a representation of that's who we are. So here's the thing. What people, when you in answering your question, you have to admit that you have got that defense mechanism that's starting to move you in that direction towards the dark side. Okay? And you can feel that because anger is not a primary emotion, by the way, in psychology. It's a secondary
me?
emotion.
I'm going to the dark side?
No, you personally.
I was like,
oh my God.
no.
You, Ryan, oh my God. No, you're there
I was
at
like
the
scared
door
for a
opening
minute.
it up and saying, come on in, there's a lot of light here.
I was honestly scared for a minute that I was like, what?
You on the
I'm
dark
trying
side?
here.
No, you know who was on the dark side though?
Who?
Every single person that put you and your family down and criticized you and squashed you, they were on the dark side, not you. You guys were always on the light side. And that's why you have light beings that were visiting you to remind you of that. It has nothing to do with who you have to become. It has to do with who you have to remember who you are already.
Like Mufasa says.
Lion
Remember I told you
King,
he's all about remember who you are. Yeah.
That's my favorite Disney movie. It's my number one favorite
Hello.
Disney movie.
You did you show him? Okay. That I always use a Lion King in all my events.
Oh my gosh, please tell me.
Because the story of, you got to understand that Walt Disney was very metaphysical.
Oh, yeah.
And so he chose stories that were going to be more moral stories for the children,
Right.
but something for the adults. They were going to be metaphoric and they were going to be metaphysical stories. The story of Mufasa is our relationship with God. God is Mufasa, Simba is us. Okay? And the story of what Simba goes through when he's trying to grow up, that's us coming here, trying to evolve, and we wanted more. Didn't Simba want to do more than what he was capable of dealing with? That's the whole story of the Garden of Eden and the Tree of Knowledge. Don't go over there and learn about things that you are not ready to handle yet. That was the Tree of Knowledge. And so it's that whole story, okay? So now he grows up, and all he's thinking about, who does he meet? He meets Simone and Pumbaa, teach him about Hakuna Matata. Always just think about pleasing yourself now. That's the id and the ego.
Right.
Also concept. You just immediate gratification is what we look for. And that is how he got suckered into forgetting about the past. It was a defense mechanism. Wow. But he still was walking around with it. And as long as he was walking around with it, who catches up to him eventually?
Rafiki.
No, Nala.
Yeah. Nala, yeah.
First. Nala represents the divine feminine in every human. Whoa. It represents your soul's mind, your intuition. So the intuition was starting to approach Simba, the conscious side of him, and saying, you know, you're wrong here. You lost. You got to go back home. You got to go back home, because your intuition would always tell you the right thing to do. But the human side of him, or the animal side of him, the lion side of him, told him, I can't go back because there's too much pain. I'm going to remember my past. I'm a jerk. I'm this and that. So those were his childhood feelings that were getting in his way. Then Rafiki comes. Now, what do you think Rafiki represents in religion? Rafiki's the Holy Spirit. Rafiki is the connection between you and your God source.
Oh my God.
Immediately, because what does Rafiki always do? He blesses, right?
Yeah.
He blesses.
He's like a shaman.
the birds.
He's like
He's
a
a
shaman,
shaman kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he's actually the connection. The triune is the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Rafiki is that Holy Spirit that connects the Son to the Father. Son, all of us, and daughters, Father, the God source, okay? Wow. And so Rafiki comes and finds him. What does Rafiki tell him? He says, no, the only reason why you're living miserably like that, your father never left you. I know your father. And he brings him to the reflection pool.
Yeah.
He's in you. And then all of a sudden the father comes, and the father, Mufasa, comes out of the cloud and says the most important, profound things.
Remember who you are.
Remember who you are. No, you have forgotten me.
Oh.
Because you have forgotten who you are. You are the one true king. So now, if that's God,
I have chills.
and Simba is us, you've got God telling Simba, his children, us, that we are the kings. We are God. And we have forgotten that. And because we have forgotten that, we have forgotten the whole God source. And the only way to do that is by going back. What does Simba have to do? He has to go back into his past, but he can learn from his past. Rafiki is telling him that, hits him in the head and says, you can learn from your past. So he finally
hurts. He tells him it hurts,
but you can't, you have to, that's what my book is about. Go into your past, not to relive it, but to understand the beliefs that are down there. You got to get rid of them and believe you're king. Stop holding on to that you're not good enough. You are God. Stop holding on to that you're not deserving or unworthy. You are God. And it's not until you recognize that you are not going to be able to go back. And what does he do? He goes back, he gets Pride Rock back in order, and life is in harmony again. That whole story is about us. And so, but here is God telling his sons that they are God. The story of Jesus is a true story, but not about Jesus. He's not the only incarnate God here. We didn't want to believe that. What he was saying, and his words were bastardized in 535 AD anyway.
By the people who killed him.
Yep.
By the people, well, actually, but yeah, there was a church that was formed and took the Bible, ripped it apart, the old Bible, to take out some of the testaments. Those were the Dead Sea Scrolls,
Removed
the 5
hundreds
books of the Bible that were removed. But the most important part was Jesus' words. Every time he said, I am the way and the truth and the life, I and my Father are one, so are you, is what he said. So he came to teach us who we were, not who he was, but we didn't want to believe that. Because look at the times. We were being killed by Romans or leprosy, and there was unbelievable poor people around and poverty. Now this guy comes along and says that we can walk on water, we can heal, we can raise ourselves from the dead. So we didn't want to believe that of us. So we turned around and we said, well, the only reason why you could do it is because he's the only Son of God. So we're constantly putting ourselves down. That's why I say you have to believe in something to start with, that there's something greater and something bigger. And that will get you to. You will one day understand that everything you experience with your father, your soul set up and chose to experience all of that, to become exactly what you're doing now. You are the greatest of ministers because you're doing it younger. You're doing it in this relaxed contemporary form. You're greater than shamans, and the both of you are. All of you are doing this, but you just don't understand that yet, that was, you set it all up. Yes, some things may have gotten out of hand, and it's not smart setups either. When we're souls on the other side, we can make stupid choices too. And to choose to come in to go through torment and hell is a stupid choice because you can forget that and go off the wrong end.
Right.
But we do it because we want to clean the slate and because we want to evolve so much that we're willing to take on shit. But look at you. Look at who you've become in spite of everything that you've gone through, and you understand that for you it worked, and that's why you're speaking it now, is to help everybody else do the same thing with their shit. And we can, but you've got to understand that your shit is not who you are. It's chapter 1 to start off your interesting novel. You get to create a fabulous story after that. Once you believe that that's not your whole book. It's only the beginning chapter.
That was very profound. that was like, I'm sitting here clutching my brand new Tibetan quartz crystal prayer bead gift.
Praying
from
that
Alex.
I shut the fuck up. So we can end the podcast.
No.
You just knocked my head off my shoulders.
But yeah, that was profound. That was profound. And next time we have you on, we got to go into. There's so much more like this. The story of your. Of Joseph of Canaan and these things.
Oh, totally.
Save them. What time are we at?
Hour 40.
Hour 40.
And hour 40, you have 2 episodes that were.
There you go.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Do we?
Yeah, let's.
Do we want to do a part 2?
For sure. This is an open
and
door.
you can split it.
This is an open door policy.
No. I'm saying.
Oh, and I would
like you come back.
Can I leave you just with one quick thing that will blow everybody's mind and the listeners?
Please.
All right. So you understand symbolism, right? You've got the necklace on that's made, and it also has a certain amount of beads on it for a reason.
Yeah, I haven't counted. I just got it like 2 hours ago.
108.
108.
108. I said I
purposely.
probably have 50
Right.
crystals on my body.
Nope,
I probably
you've
have
got
150
on them because there's a reason for everything. There's
Love
all
it.
these symbols. Well, you know how the tree of life is a symbol of God and us, right? That's used. We understand that the trunk is supposed to be the God force, right? And then all the branches and the leaves and the fruit are all us and everything else growing off of that, right? Why doesn't anybody ever talk about the roots? I'm going to tell you about the roots because that was told to me. Mythology is only a truth so profound it's too difficult to believe, but it's all true. There were many intelligences in the universe. And being intelligent, they realized in some way I don't know what pronoun you would use for them.
Sure.
Yeah, we understand.
Sure.
Right. But being intelligent, they realize, well, it seems that we individually have this individual power. How much greater would we be as one? So now you have all your individual intelligences, which you would appreciate this. What do you think all the Greek gods are from?
Oh, yeah.
Those are the individual intelligence. Didn't happen like that. You pick
Sure.
stories with
It's
it.
allegory.
You make Venus look really, really pretty because then she makes a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
and right? So all of those intelligence came together. And once they started the motion of coming together to form the God force, which is the one power now, it's once you put, what do we know about the law of Newton and motion? Once you put an object into motion, only an equal to or greater power can
Stop it.
stop it. So that is in motion now, and that God force being intelligent now with all those intelligences says, let's keep going and see what happens. Let's get more. And all the branches are the original souls. There aren't all these 8 billion souls. These are not souls that God created. It's only the major branches, only a few. And
Like
then,
archetypes.
That's right. Then all of the twigs and the smaller branches and the leaves and the fruit that come off of that is our creation. And so that's what all these different physical lifetimes are in all the universes. So the God force created this whole thing, but it all did start from individual. That's why paganism isn't totally wrong. It's just
Oh, for sure.
Just misinterpreted. Yeah.
For sure.
just misinterpreted. And so it's the Greek mythology. It's all misinterpreted. And certainly you don't want to, my wife comes from a Jewish background, don't sit with a rabbi unless he has studied the Kabbalah to
Right.
explain this,
Oh.
because then he would understand. The intelligences came together to form the one God, and that's the one that Abraham, whatever his name was back then, discovered. But that's the truth about the God force, is that it was about individual intelligences coming together. Then there was the one, but they're all being fed together by the same source. It's all that. So when that was told to me, I was like, I like that better because now I don't have to cut off the tree of life just on the top.
If you think about that, really, really, really fucking out of the box. Like, y'all out there, I know we just had this whole conversation about like misuse and misappropriation of chemicals, but take a toke. Take a toke and think out of the fucking box. Matter of fact, get your box cutter and cut it up. Doesn't that sound like a toroidal field when you think about it? Like, you have, Alex, can you pull up a toroidal field? It's like the cosmic donut. It's the force of energy that's constantly flowing in and out of itself that they say like is the force of magnetism, energy of the planet. And it's like, think about it, dude. You have the roots that are all these separate, we could say, entities flowing into one trunk, flowing out again into the
branching
branches. And then it's just like this cycle of flowing through the roots into one singular. Look, it's like it just reminds me of a toroidal field, like with the branches, with the branches and the roots, and the trunk being the singular unifying force of energy, where these consciousnesses are just flowing in and out like a torus. I don't know. It's just what came to my head when you said that.
That is-
Absolutely.
like the flow of energy.
It's a
And the
flow of energy. It's a total flow of energy.
It's believed that that's like the flow of conscious energy is a toroidal field.
That's right.
Remember in everything else,
It's a
everywhere,
bagel.
it's a bagel.
It's a bagel.
That's a toroidal
Yeah.
field.
I love bagels.
Did you
So
see
then
that?
what's the locks?
Did you?
Gotta be
we
something on the
We don't
bagel.
go into the locks.
Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once? It's the new movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
No, not yet.
You should check that one
I've got to
out.
check
It's
that
brand
out.
new, brand new.
I know
Wonderful.
it is. I know it's brand new movie.
Wonderful.
That's a definite
You can
another
rent it
one.
now.
Yes, that's another
You will
one. But
love it.
It's
I'm
so
sorry to
good.
take up so much time, but it's so meaningful
Don't
to me. And you
apologize.
No,
guys are
please,
so great.
please.
And this information is so deep, and that's why I do laugh about it, because it's hard pressed. But the most important thing is that we get to understand and appreciate who we are, and then experience some of that before we leave the physical realm, because that's what we came here to do. We want to experience some of who we are. We don't have to experience all of it. That's
Sure.
why these people that are into ascension and they want to experience, well, you know what? The only way you're really going to truly experience that is get back on the other side again when in spirit form. That's not what we purposely wanted to limit ourselves for a reason. Let's leave all our power home, for now,
God,
because I want to know what it's like.
That's so cool.
So yes, will we? Now, when Jesus said that, you have the faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. Do you fucking really believe that that's what he wanted you to do? He wouldn't have inspired dynamite to be able to move the damn mountain and engineers to be able to do that. None of that would have been inspired if we were supposed to just do it that way.
We've got to do a part 2. I can tell you, like, after
And 3 and 4 and 5?
Yeah. After the countless hours that I've spent with Vincent over the last 4 years, I can tell you there's no end to the wisdom. And
There's no end to his talking. That's the other.
No. That's not what I mean. There's no end to my talking either.
I know.
You hear me listening?
Yes, yes.
I guarantee you, this is, of all Bledsoe Setso episodes, this is the one I've talked the least.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's
Totally.
because I'm listening. I'm really,
This is right.
really.
And finally, Alex was able to catch up on his sleep. So it just.
This has easily been one of the most profound episodes we've ever recorded.
Good Lord.
You have brought up so many things that I have never thought about, and allow me to see the things that we talk about from a completely different lens, and it only enriches and strengthens the thing. Like, this was absolutely incredible.
So let me ask you a question then, and this goes for even Alex and for you as well, Ryan. What does that say about you guys? To be able to experience what you just said, what is that saying about you? You were talking about me.
We're really seeking.
Complimented me, but what does that say about you?
really seeking wisdom. Like, really just trying.
No, you're not seeking it.
We're living it.
You
Living
know it already, otherwise you wouldn't recognize it in somebody else. You can only recognize in somebody else what lies there inside of you.
I see what you
believe
mean
that.
now.
I believe
Pretty
that.
cool.
That perspective is incredible.
Yeah.
It's like, I love that the way you put it. It's like, we're not here to learn, we're here to experience.
We're here to remember.
Remember.
That's even better. It's like it's the same thing, but with
It's a better perspective.
It's a way better perspective.
way
It's
better
like you could look
perspective.
at it that way, or you could look at it as like you already know.
That's what I mean.
Everything you need to know.
Because here's the
Like
thing:
the
when
Jedi.
you think
Yeah.
you're learning something, the suggestion is that you didn't know it.
It's outside of you.
It's outside of you, and
Yeah.
what people have to understand, this is not stuff, because then they can walk around and go, well, I can never be like them because that's not me. I don't have any of that inside of me. I don't understand. It's like, no. Then you just need to get to it in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's in every single being already. It's there. They just have to bring it out. I keep using, just so that you know, and I want everybody to know, I'm not religious.
Sure,
but there's
sure.
been a lot of information out there that you can use in religion that was used wrong that still has great messages.
100%.
Yeah.
The Bible, for example, those are all metaphoric, metaphysical messages for us. And the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, for example, okay, which we are living right now, just so that you know. And it has nothing to
Great.
do with the God force. No, seriously.
No, I believe you. That's all.
Yes, I am
fucking
serious
great.
about
Like,
this, and everybody needs to take this seriously. It has nothing to do with God destroying it. It has to do with the God force. Just like, again, Darth Vader used the force towards the destroying people, right? And
Yeah.
hurting people. So you can use the force the wrong way. So it had nothing to do with God wanting to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because they were fornicating and doing all of these bad things that you're always caught up in. I had to throw that in there. I had to see, Alex, you appreciate that? Equal Toastmastering, okay? Okay,
This is comedy genius.
Yeah.
So, and
We're going to talk about that, by the way, after the show.
Okay, all right, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
So, all right, so you got Sodom and Gomorrah, and they're causing, because they're misusing their own power, they're causing their own demise. And so the angels come down, which are brothers and sisters that always try to help us, and they go to Lot. They find the most spiritual person in the town. They say, hey, listen, dude. Okay, hey, listen, come here. All right, you're going to fucking hell in a handbasket. I need you to know that right away, okay? You guys, wow, what shit are you going to?
I imagine the angels have this voice. Like,
really
listen, come on, Tony. What are you doing?
You haven't figured out the right entrance for that thing? What are you doing in the rear with everybody? That's a bunch. And this is like a little above age, but helpful down here. But because of that, you've used all of this power and you're about ready to destroy yourselves. You need to go find 11, go wake up 11 spiritual people. That power, that energy will help to counter what you're doing right now, okay? So we know the story. He goes into town. He's trying to wake up people. They think he's nuts. They just want to keep fornicating, taking drugs, and doing little kids. And so they were doing everybody. Okay? What do you think? It's new?
Yeah, no.
It's like, where do you think they got the idea from?
I didn't expect
Like
that.
back in the old days. Okay. And so he couldn't do that. So the angel came back down. He said, shit, really? Oh, man, fuck, you are fucked. The angels came from New York.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
They came from
obviously.
New
They
York.
were Italian.
They were Italian.
Yeah.
They used their hands a lot. Their wings. They were moving all over the place. Yeah. And so he said, okay, 9. If you get 9, there'll maybe be some earthquakes, maybe some fires, but you won't be totally destroyed. Just go get 9. And he couldn't get 9. He couldn't get anybody to go, okay, get the hell out of there. The same thing is happening now. You are using the God force, and because of all of this negativity, you are destroying yourselves. And that was the story of critical mass. It was the first story written to discuss what critical mass is. Critical mass is having a certain amount, whatever the certain amount of this substance or energy is, that is going to overpower and be stronger than this that may seem a negative. So the positive, you only need 1 proton. In every atom, there could be 1 proton with several electrons floating around it. Why? Because that proton has the most power. Not the electrons, the proton. So you only need 1. So critical mass is we need a group of people, enough people on this planet to reverse things. You guys are the messengers to help reach the people on this level, at this age, to be able to get other wisdom out there, because this is all part of the healing. You're helping to wake people up, because that's what we're talking about, right? Waking people up. So you're helping to wake people up to help save this planet. But it is a story of Sodom and Gomorrah, and we are right now. There is crisis. I'm sorry. I'm a very positive person.
Right.
And I know that there's plenty of opportunity to be able to reverse this, but I need people to know right now, we are fucking it up royally. And the proof of that is just look at the universe, look at life. It used to be that there would be a disaster and maybe some time would go by and everybody would learn something from it or not, and it settled back down really quickly. And then maybe 10, 15, 20 years later, another disaster would happen.
Right.
Not happening that way now.
It's happening all the time.
It's disaster after crisis after crisis,
It's like
and it's rolling. And what we have going on is negative rain, like acid rain, and it's accumulating and it's falling down on top of people. People are experiencing things like whether it be a loss of their own emotional control, they're getting temperamental, they're cracking, bad things are happening to them. It's because of all this negative rain, and we have to stop it. We are the critical masses that have to get and wake everybody else up. That's the only reason why I do what I do, is to help people turn things around for themselves and then accumulatively for the planet.
That's all we want to do too.
I know it is.
That's all we want to do
You do it
too.
so cool. You guys are so cool.
You're so cool.
Oh,
You
man,
kidding
I
me?
feel great. I'm on this couch. I'm the 67-year-old surrogate grandfather
There you
here,
go.
okay, with all these young dudes.
Nah, you're just a homie.
Right?
You're
Okay,
a homie.
I'm
You
a
ain't
homie.
you ain't a grandpa. You're a
Yeah,
homie.
you're a
That's
homie.
just right. That's what
He's a homie.
I've been
He's
homie. I'm
yeah.
fucking cool.
I gotta
Yeah.
tell this story real quick. So
Go ahead.
I just came. It was the weekend before Christmas of this past year. Jennifer and I, my wife, went and stayed with Vincent and Eileen, and
Yeah.
they only live 2 hours from us, towards the capital of North Carolina, Raleigh. Well, I don't want to announce exactly the city.
No, it's okay.
There's creeps on the internet.
They can in Google. My Google listing tells them that I'm in.
Sure,
Spring,
but point
that's
being,
okay.
the moment I walked into his house, If I remember correctly, it's like right after you enter the front door, you take a left, and that's your office, right?
Yes.
And walking into that office, the first thing that came into my mind is, are you kidding me? Was this man my father in a past life? Because I swear to God, like he has like hanging Merkabas that spin and capture light and like crystal things and like I don't remember if he had like tarot cards, but
it was all tarot cards.
Yeah,
that
like,
was my beginning. Yeah,
Awesome.
and like very mystical, awesome little icons and decorations next to like statues of Yoda,
the Elder Wand.
the Elder Wand,
Elder Wand,
and I'm like,
right.
no fucking way, dude.
My Disney castle. I have a replica Disney castle there as well.
That's so awesome.
I literally, in our dinky little podcast studio, I have like crystal pyramids next to Neo. Like it's the same vibe. I'm telling you, like in a past life, or maybe
It
just
is.
we're family.
We're
yeah,
kindred
We are
spirits.
family in a past life. Oh, I did want to let you know on the way here, you guys had a past life together too. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, you were lovers. And he was a lover.
that explains the tension all the time.
But wait a
like
minute,
you cut it with a butter knife.
Alex was the husband.
Okay.
Okay, and you were the wife.
Okay.
Okay, and it was really cool. So the funny thing is, do not be surprised that at some points in the relationship, and if you argue or anything like that, or some of the feelings that it could be like a married couple.
Oh my God.
Versus because you're pulling in, you're together again, but obviously want to do it at different roles. But you're pulling.
I don't know.
in
We could go
again.
back to Alex.
Go back to the lover part.
Alex,
This
what do you
is really,
think? What do you
see?
think, Alex? You want to go back to our past life together?
I mean, I kind of like this one.
I don't blame you. He's a lot bushier now than he was back then. He was pretty hot back. You were pretty hot back then. You were pretty hot. You had all this chiffon on and stuff like that, and you were definitely on a higher level, like a prince or something along those lines.
I was a princess?
Well, kind of, but back in that realm,
more
if
of
you
a
had that kind of
concubine?
well, yeah. You were fuckable. That's
Yeah.
definitely
yeah.
I'm seeing that. Yeah, we had past life. Souls will come together from lifetime to lifetime.
I believe that
because
wholeheartedly.
they create karma with each other.
Yeah.
So, and most of the time
like a
it's
bond.
with any type. If you casually meet somebody, chances are they weren't in your past life. But if there is a meaningful relationship, then chances are they were, and definitely your family members.
Oh, for sure. We
Your
were just talking
children,
about that.
Your children
We just
were
did-
definitely your parents.
We
and all
just
that.
talked
In
about
the last
that.
episode, right before you showed up, remember we had to film one?
Oh, yeah.
We just had a whole conversation about that, about ancestors passing through and like always being with us and, connected through reincarnation and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I believe
and
that.
you were the old grandfather who would sit and just tell stories to all the children.
Great.
That's all you did is you used to tell stories, but good stories and spiritual stories and, all these meaningful stuff. But you also did that in Asia.
Dude, I swear to God, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I probably shouldn't say this. Remember, I was like,
Yes.
I can't remember. I was drunk at a birthday party one time,
Yeah.
and I was rambling about how I've always believed I was Asian in a past life. You remember?
Confirmed.
And I'm like obsessed with
Confirm it now. Absolutely,
And I
yes.
like was obsessed with, like growing up, I was just so obsessed with Eastern culture and martial arts and like mysticism and things like that, even though I didn't really believe in the mysticism until my adult
right.
life. But just like obsessed with it and the chakras and shit.
Oh, yeah, you had it all together there. That's why I don't mess with you, man. This guy's kung fu. Do not.
I don't practice anymore. It's been 6 years since I practiced.
But no, your wisdom now in your youth, you spent that entire lifetime to gain that energy control. That's why energy is also very important to you.
I'm like obsessed with like mudras and everything
exactly.
Eastern.
All
I'm just
about that
obsessed
because
with it.
that's who you were, and now you want to do it more contemporarily. And as a young person, to be able to reach more, but you're starting with all of that right now. That's what you've started with. And the thing is, it's funny. The reason why you even partnered with him is, and you come from. Oh God, can I really?
Please,
Oh my
go
God,
ahead.
can I
Go
really
ahead.
tell
Go.
you one of the other lifetimes with you?
Go.
You have several Greek background. This isn't your only incarnation in Greek. Definitely ancient Greece, and definitely you were one of the philosophers. So you were there.
Ryan,
2
Ryan?
times, yes. You were one of the philosophers.
He's told me that multiple times already. He's told me that.
Okay.
I feel it.
No, you absolutely were. And you were one of the better ones because they had one of the first philosophers is the one who taught them might makes right. And so you see, Greek people were very strong and powerful, and they thought as long as they were strong and powerful, that meant they can go to any smaller group of people and pillage and fight them and steal all their goods. Okay. And then it wasn't until Socrates and Aristotle and Pluto came along that, it turned around and said, did you ever think that you're strong and you're big like this so that you can protect the smaller people? And they turned around and said, duh, too much sambuca. And so they decided that was going to be their realm now. They were going to protect. However, they couldn't now. You had a second life there. So ancient Greece is very old.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you were very much a philosopher in the very beginning realm. There is an my God, Raphael painted a picture that you even might be in. It's a fabulous picture of all the Greek philosophers, and you got Socrates, and you've got Aristotle, and another one, Pluto. Pluto. Thank you.
That's the one I always tell him he's a
I got
reincarnation
Disney
of.
stuck in my head so much that every time I've been saying his name, Eileen said that when you keep saying Pluto, I was just like, and Daffy Duck. They were the philosophers.
That's
you were
Looney
Daffy
Tunes.
Duck, and you were Pluto. Plato, thank you. So you might be in that picture. But then you came back, and here's what happened. Is the Greeks were still aggressive because they loved the bigness, and there was that male, part of them that we just got to keep doing that. And that's why they created the Olympics. So that instead of fighting, they can now compete. But here's what's funny. You were in the Greek Olympics. You came back after being a philosopher. You came back short-lived and came right back, and you were one of the first Greek Olympians. But here's the funny thing about the Olympians. He's smiling now.
Uh-oh.
There were 3 qualifications in order to be a Greek Olympian. 1, you must be male.
Lame.
2, you must be built because they were going to be strong. 3, you must be hung because they were going to be naked.
Yeah, they were naked back then. Yeah.
And
It's like the myth of Nike. They ran naked.
That's
in
right.
the golden
The concept of penis envy came from ancient Greece.
No.
And you were one of those Olympians, and you loved how hung you were.
Dude, I'm going to tell you something in private after we're done recording, and it's going to make you laugh your fucking ass off.
Dude, I had a hung wife.
You had a...
Yo,
That's not the time period you were married to him, then. But
Can I tell you something interesting? My last name is Firminides, right?
yeah.
One of the very first Greek philosophers' names was Parmenides,
And he was the founder of metaphysics.
the founder of metaphysics.
Oh, there you go.
And phonetically, if you trace it, it makes sense that our name would have come from that.
It would have come from that because that's how the names came across then,
Exactly.
absolutely back then.
That's
That's very cool.
so
you
mind-
were, absolutely. So, yes.
You just blew my mind.
So together, just think of this, so much wisdom, and you wouldn't be producing this if it wasn't for your own leadership that you had in the past as well, and also at the time that you knew him because you had a relationship there, and we'll talk about your relationship another time, but absolutely, it's all part of this. You think you're doing a podcast and you don't understand. You're just using that as a tool, man. You are a major waking up unit.
Wow.
Okay,
That is the
and you came
coolest.
together to get that power together because that's the best. And I need you to look. You're a triune.
Thrice greatest.
Thrice greatest,
right.
Trismegistus. Oh my.
You are a triune, body, mind, and spirit. And each of you take on a different part of that. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, but you are the triune, which is connecting everything together and putting out. That's why it's becoming so powerful and why it's going to get even greater.
You're just blowing my mind because I just keep thinking back to the fact that every single thing I obsessed over as a kid growing up had to do with Eastern martial arts. or Eastern practices? Like just
absolutely.
off the
Great.
cuff. Matrix, Ninja Turtles, fucking Power Rangers,
Wing Chun.
Wing Chun. I'm
Bruce
talking
Lee.
like even as a
Kung
tiny
Fu.
kid, even as a toddler in diapers looking at the TV.
Dragon
First
Ball
time
Z.
I saw Dragon Ball, I was
That
hypnotized.
was your time period together in Asia.
Who, me and Nick?
Alex.
Me and Alex.
You and Alex.
I've just always been obsessed with Eastern practices, and it's like maybe I really did, have a past life.
You did, but
Well, he's telling
it was
you did.
spiritual. It was as a monk. It wasn't as and the monks back then absolutely knew all the martial
That's
arts.
how I see
obviously.
it. Dude, you're blowing my fucking mind. Ever since I was little, I've always visualized myself living an alternate life in a monastery in the mountains. I've just always, as a kid, imagined
You were
how I wish.
imagining. You were remembering.
That's what I'm saying. That
Yes.
that might be making
Yes.
sense to me. I've always had this,
Yes.
even as a child, I always just fantasized about wanting to live in a monastery in the mountains, in the mountains of Asia somewhere, like Tibet
The
or China.
Himalayas and
Yeah, in the
go up there.
Himalayas.
Yeah,
I've always
really.
been
Yeah.
obsessed.
You're wearing a
with it.
Tibetan chain right
And
now.
Alex bought it for me
got Tibetan
just totally as a gift. Like this what came to me today. It's just weird.
Why
that,
you would get that for him, you had to have that relationship with him in the past, knowing that would be meaningful to him. And you don't know that you're knowing all of this stuff and why you're making these choices, but it's always for a reason.
Oh my God. This is so wild. This is completely blowing my mind.
I don't know how you're going to divide this, but I'm glad you have to do it.
okay, well, I mean, shoot, I'm telling you, there's so much more content
We're
from
doing-
Vincent.
I'll come back. I'll come back anytime.
we
You know
gotta-
you guys are
Open door
amazing.
policy. Open
Yeah,
door.
I'll be
You
back.
come here
Be back.
and we're doing
I'll
episodes
be
with
back.
you.
Don't worry
Last
about it.
serious thing I want to say is, like, from the bottom of our hearts, Team Bledsoe said so. We sincerely hope that you will, if you enjoyed this, if you were entertained by Vincent and the incredible wisdom that he has to share, please just go check out his book on Amazon. Read the reviews.
Absolutely.
Leave a review. Would it be okay if they mention that they found you on here?
Absolutely. Please, definitely mention
100%.
that you found it. Yes.
Go watch the Logan
Very
Paul episode with him.
Oh, yeah, that's on
so
my media.
funny.
Yes.
The book title one more time.
The secret that's holding you back.
Get it on Amazon. There's
Amazon.
audiobook. He does the audiobook
Yeah,
for
he
it.
Yeah,
read
that's
the
coming
audio.
out in September. That you'll see
Oh,
that
awesome.
September 15th.
Awesome.
It'll be available also on Amazon. Yeah.
Guys got to get this thing.
And
It's
Audible.
a brand new book. He's like, literally, we've been talking about this for close to a year now. He poured his heart and soul into it, and it's just like, just out of pure nothing but love and compassion. Just check it out. And if you're moved by what he said, then help him out.
Thank you.
We don't get anything from this. We don't want anything from this.
Absolutely.
It's just love, sharing love, and
Yep.
that's
That's
what
right. And
family
share it
does.
with others. Move it around.
Yeah.
I need this message out there, and only you can help get the message out there as well. Use it for yourself, and give it to somebody that you know that can help. But I can tell you this book, just like when you do exercising, you can go to a gym and you can do aerobics and you can exercise your upper body or your lower body, but they will always tell you that there is one part that you need to exercise at all times because it's the weakest part.
The core.
The core.
Yeah.
My book is the core that makes everything else you do come together and work.
Wow.
It's the core beliefs that you have, and that's what we've been talking about, the power of belief, right? It's the core beliefs you have that make your life up now, and you can change the beliefs to be able to create the life of your dreams. And that's the purpose of my book. And me.
Incredible.
Wow. Okay, Vincent, give me a hug.
This was an absolute banger of an episode. This could not have been better. That was so awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.
That was incredible.
Yeah. Incredible.
I need a blowjob.
For those who didn't hear, he's off mic. He said, Alex, I need a blowjob.
All right, we got to send them off on the count of 3. We're going to look at the camera and say bye, guys,
Yeah,
okay?
it's a tradition.
right.
All right,
ready?
1, 2, 3. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week. Peace.